Oh no, he's an ass.
He's such an ass.
I love him.
He's an show. He's an ass in real life.
But yeah, very satisfying.
Poison ivy all over.
Yeah.
Oh my god, no! That makes sense. That guy's a fucking douche in the show.
Like
it's funny. So
like
you're telling me
every
he wasn't
single
even
role.
acting?
Yeah.
Oh
He's
my
just like
god.
that.
What an asshole. Jesus Christ. And what have you done since then? What have you done since 1998? One little short film with college kids. Welcome to the show. This is episode 9. It's not like as big as like an episode 10, but it's not as little as an episode 8. So it is really cool. I have you guys on, and we talked about this when we were at the premiere of Billie's film.
Yeah, I had to ask you to be on it. I'm like,
Yeah, I know.
why?
I know. Well, you know, we're
Confused.
because you live in another country. So how was customs?
It took me forever to get here. Like I haven't driven up this way in like probably since the last time I came here. So I completely forgot that Boston traffic existed. Like, just like
famously.
It's
Yeah.
awful.
But I'm happy to have both of you on for a couple of reasons. So introduce yourself, or I can introduce you. The amazing, the great, the wonderful Ryan Collins.
That's me.
Yep. The only sound person I will ever use.
That's right.
And for me, Gaffer, right?
Yeah.
On like everything I ever do.
Yeah.
But Gaffer Key Grip, now recently director, filmmaker extraordinaire, Billie Smith.
Yeah, that's me.
Wonderful, wonderful to have you both. So here's the thing, right? What I want to do, because a couple people have asked me in the past, like since we talked, a couple people have asked me, like, what do you want to do? Like, what is your show? What do you want to do?
Sure.
And at first I was like, I want to talk to everybody, but I really want to talk to film people. So like, I don't care if you're an actor or a director and you're promoting your film, or if you're like a sound person or a grip or a gaffer or a writer or a what, like I want to talk to everybody. Like if you're in the film industry, indie or industry, like, you know, studio, big studio, small studio, I don't care who it is. Like this is the show. Like that's what I want it to be. Funny, crazy set stuff, like everything, or just chit chatting about everything. Like I don't care. Like you doing theater at 8 years old playing Tiny Tim. Like I don't care what it is. I just want to have fun. But it's an excuse to get together with other people in the community, especially in a time where striking and there's not a lot going on.
Right,
and
things
work
are
is all over the place. And so I thought it'd be super fun. So I really appreciate you driving from a million miles away.
Yeah, literally just give me a reason to do it and I'll do it.
Yeah, well, sure. And I appreciate, well, yeah, I know, but usually there's a paycheck involved when I call you for things, you know? And I appreciate you driving up from less far, but still far.
Yeah, it was like, 30 minutes.
Far-ish, you know? You guys are free. We can like talk. So since it is my show and not like some corporate CBS like thing, treat it like Howard Stern. Like we can talk about anything and nothing is off limits and you can say whatever you want.
We could even talk about Howard Stern.
We can talk about Howard Stern if you'd like.
I don't think I've ever watched an episode of Howard Stern,
I don't think
so
I know
I wouldn't
anything
be good
about
at
it.
it.
Really.
He's more like radio style, but it is what I mean is like nothing's off limits and you don't have to censor yourself, and it's just like being on a regular Wilco set, except now we're all in front of the camera. So it's nothing like a regular Wilco set.
Scarier is what you're saying.
Kind of. Just feel judged, you know? I'm joking.
I
was going to say I feel judged
literally
regardless.
100% of the time.
I will say it is super cool to like do stuff like this because I immediately like this is like that feeling of like, oh, I'm going to be judged, whatever, like all that stuff. Fuck it. Just do it. You're going to get judged regardless. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. Some people like the stuff that I say. Some people think I'm crazy. Some people don't like me at all. And I don't care because there's everywhere in between. So you guys like me, which is why you're here. And I like you, which is why you're here. You know, I love both of you guys.
I love you.
Thank you. How, Same. Oh, the whispering. That's cool. So I don't know why it just reminded me of this. The whispering just reminded me, though, we're now officially, as of today, we're filming this on a Monday, but we drop every Monday, so this won't come out for a week. But
I know I tried to watch the episode that was supposed to come out today.
It's tonight.
And
yeah, it's nighttime.
It was like 7 o'clock drop, and I'm like, well, I'm going to be recording this.
Well, you got to make people wait. You know? Yeah.
So I don't know what happens. And
good. Yeah. We're not. Yeah. It's fun stories with Andrew. He says it's the worst episode so far.
So it's obviously the best one from
he
your
talks
perspective.
like he actually like talks and he like
tragic.
opened up
No,
about
that's
like
awful.
himself. He talked about he used to work in a movie theater.
What?
Yeah, it's really cool. It's a cool episode. And then he goes, it's like the worst one, but he says it's the worst one because he actually talks and we don't like play games and like do stupid stuff. But
I only recently retrained myself into using Instagram again because I was like, okay, career reasons, I need to actually get back into the habit of doing
fair
this.
enough. Isn't it crazy how like your priorities shift when work stops and you're like, oh,
well, and
I need to like do stuff.
That's part of it. I think the actual bigger thing is that in attempting to transition from being a grip to being like a director or writer or whatever, it's like, oh, I actually have to like do self-promotion now.
Yeah, that's
if
true.
you're a grip, you don't have to do that shit.
That's cool. That's true. That's yeah. Yeah, it's very difficult to like post stuff, at least for me anyway. It's very difficult to like post stuff on Instagram without a following of people who like know who you are and what you're all about. And then you just post like a random movie trailer that you made and people are like, "Oh, who is it? Like who is this?" You know? Right. Right. So I'm like, "Well, people should probably." And then it's still again cuz it's like it's me.
Yeah.
So like it's a little spicier than the average person who's like out there. Like we can say him because this is a compliment. I don't mean this in a bad way, so I'll say his name. But Kyle Gregory, right? Love Kyle. He's great. He is very like genuinely speaking, he's very PG. Like he's just pretty and he's genuine and he's like, "Hey, let me help you with this, let me help you with that." But you're not going to when Kyle and I have conversations, he laughs at me because I'm like X-rated with the way that I speak about everything, and he's like, "That's great, buddy. That's good." Like he's very, very PG. You know, good guy, but you know, like yeah, I don't know. It's just it's funny stuff. I was talking to somebody recently about like the first time that I met you, Ryan, on on
that one.
We've done like so many shoots together.
Yeah,
I feel like for like, well, from a you do a lot of shoots, but I'm saying from the standpoint of somebody who like, I've made a lot of movies. For somebody who like writes checks, like it's like you get up there pretty quick.
So what did we do? We did was Training Wheels first.
Training Wheels.
I'll
call ya, and then what's it called? Line of Duty. We did those are three that were like that I did, but then
we did the
we've
Charlie
also
one.
been on Charlie's set a couple of times. Did you do Graffiti? Did you do sound for Graffiti?
No, it was not on Graffiti, actually.
Who did sound for Graffiti?
It was Josh Bermel, I think.
Oh,
that sounds
right?
Yeah, probably.
And Ben Heald was a gaffer. You weren't on Graffiti either.
No.
I saw Ben yesterday.
How's he doing?
Ben seems really good.
Ben's so cool.
Ben is so cool.
Ben is so... I am on the record as saying Ben is cool.
Yeah.
Ben's cool.
Ben is cool. He's a super nice guy. And like I've never met anybody who's like as established as Ben Heald, who is also so willing to take the person with the least knowledge and be like, "Hey, let me help you like explode your career." Like he's super cool, like very, very cool, very always willing to help. I posted something on Facebook like one time. I've met Ben Heald for a total of like 3 hours. Like if Ben Heald sees this, he's gonna be like, who is this kid? Why is he talking about me? But like he's very, very nice. And I posted something on Facebook and he like immediately reached out like, "Oh, I have like 5 names for you. Like I needed help with something." And he was like, "I got 5 names for you." Doesn't know me from a hole in the wall. It's just like right there. Super, super cool. I wish there were more people in this community like that, you know, in the filmmaking community.
I mean, I'm not like that.
Yeah, I know, but you're also always there. Like
that's true.
I use one sound person because I don't want to have to rely on a million, like a Rolodex of sound people, you know? Yeah. And then you find a good one and you lock it in.
Right, like it was like Line of Duty and you were just like, "Oh, what's the first week of January look like for you?" And I'm just like, "Well, it's my birthday." And you're just like, "Okay, we're doing the second week of January."
I literally changed the shoot because it was the birth. Yeah,
it was my birthday too.
Was it?
That's right.
Yeah.
The 4th. Second.
Oh, that's right. We talked about this. Yes.
No,
yes,
mine
yes,
is on the
3rd?
4th.
That's what I said.
Right.
Yeah,
You're the second.
I'm the second.
I was thinking you were the 6th for some reason.
No.
So like, okay, so I have questions for both of you.
Sure.
And I think I always find it interesting. Like when I was, and maybe this is the way it was for you guys too, but when I was growing up, I always wanted to do, I started off, I wanted to do some acting. And it really wasn't my style. And I ended up telling other people what to do on stage. And it's like not the actor's job, it's the director's job. So like but that was like like the Spielberg route, you know, with filmmaking. You went to film school, correct?
Yeah.
Did you go to film school for college? What did you do for college? Or did you not go? I didn't go.
I went to school for politics, which I think is somewhat adjacent.
Sure. Okay. Sure.
Communication.
A little bit. But I wanted to know, like, how does one go, like, because when you think, generically speaking, of a movie, right, you think of, like, the main actor, and then you think of, like, the director. So, like, everyone else kind of falls by the wayside, unfortunately, because they're super important. How does one, like, fall into gaffing or sound or, like, because both of you are incredible with, like, you bend light like no one I've ever met in my entire life. And when I can say, this is the other thing too, I think this is part of the reason I like both of you, because you both, maybe you don't speak it, but you understand, like, my Nick language, which is like, I'll be like, Billy, you know that thing with, like, the window thing? And you'll be like, oh, like with the, yeah, okay, I'll do it. And it's done. And it's done, you know? I'll be like, you're like, yeah, they're already done. Like, it's like, it's all set up already, you know? And the right way and my way, which is very helpful and convenient, especially when you're a smaller filmmaker with a limited budget and you're trying to get something done, to have people on your team that just do it. He's very, very nice, very helpful, with not a lot of argument. So, how'd you get into what you do?
I mean, so I got into sound like the same way that any sound person gets into sound. I started with music.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Yeah, you do music, yeah.
So it's like, I went to film school. We had, like, they weren't film classes, they were communications classes, but they were, like, audio design, learning Pro Tools.
In film school?
In film school. Well, it was at college. Like, it was, like...
Sure. But, like, okay, but, like, Jaden, right?
Yeah.
Or Dan at Hofstra, like, they're behind cameras every day.
Yeah.
Not the case for you.
Oh,
I didn't go to college, so I don't know. This is all foreign. I don't know.
So I mean, we had production classes, we had, like, theory classes, but, like, we would do, like, a certain number of class shoots in production classes. Like, we would write a script. Everyone would write, like, a short script, either, like, a 1-page or, like, a 3-page something.
I'm sure they were wonderful.
They were definitely something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Again, we don't have to name names. What was the worst one that you read? What was it about?
Oh God.
The worst one that wasn't by someone that you still talk to.
Oh God. No, I know I've read, like, really bad ones. It's hard to remember that, though.
Isn't it crazy what college kids will come up with, and like with regard to story and trying to? Yeah.
I mean, everyone wants to do kind of the same thing.
That's the thing. I think they're bad in benign ways usually. Like, when you read, like, a script written by, like, a 17 or 18-year-old, it's always just, like, I don't know. Like, I feel like it's, like, 50% just, like, bad version of Reservoir Dogs.
Kind of. Yeah. Literally.
It's
like everyone wants to make, like, these, like, action mob movies, and it's just like, okay.
Yeah. But they're 17 years old.
So
they're bad.
Exactly. It's just like, you have no experience with any of this. Or, like, this is not how people talk or anything.
Godzilla. Yeah.
Oh God, I'd love to make a monster movie, though.
Godzilla.
That would be cool. Yeah, a monster movie would be really cool. We should
make a bootleg Godzilla movie.
That would be...
Godzilla would be cool, but also, like,
next week.
Like, so you guys
Nick, you've got all the stop motion shit already.
That's true. We could. Oh, that would be sick. That would be sick. Stop motion Godzilla.
Just put me
what
in.
Was that guy's name that did the puppets for Lovecraft? Q? Something with a Q, right?
Oh, Quentin.
Yeah.
Quentin. Quentin's cool.
Which Quentin? Tarantino?
No, Bell.
He's a puppeteer.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I think he's out of, like, Western Mass, though.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, there are these things called cars. You know all about them because I
drive one, like, every single day.
Yeah, they have cars, Bill.
Way more than I want to.
You love the mic, huh?
What?
Hold on.
Are you fucking kidding me?
What about you? Like, how did you? Was it just through, like? And I only ask this because, like, you do post-production for audio and you do, like, amazing stuff with, it's not this, I feel like people think it's as simple as, like, a practical or, like, you know, putting up a light somewhere, and it's just really not.
Yeah, so I was working at this liquor store in Boston, saw a full page ad to be they were just looking for men with long red hair to be, like, these Irish fisherman types in the background of Little Women, like in the New York City scenes, did that, got on a bunch of casting lists, and did a couple other movies over the course of the next year. I made camera in Free Guy, in Defending Jacob. Something else that is slipping my mind.
Where are you in Defending Jacob?
I am in the bit where the paparazzi chase his car down the street. They're like trying to sneak what's his face? The kid that is also in Knives Out, Jaden something, I want to say. They're trying to like sneak him off to the courthouse or something for his hearing, and then they get hounded by all these paparazzi. And the direction that the second gave us was chase the car. And so I did, and I guess I hauled ass a little bit more than the other background actors. So I am very, very prominently in specifically one shot of like the kid in the back seat, like looking over his shoulder out the back window of the car, and like my face is just like prominently occupying like 50% of the rear window of the car as I like sprint after it with like this like newscaster cam on my shoulder.
I love it.
That's
great. So
hilarious.
I'll keep looking for this, but
Okay.
I want to know how you got into.
Yeah, so I don't know if either of you know Sam Zillick. He's like sort of an actor around town. He does like a lot of shorts, and at the time we were both background actors on the same casting list, and so we wound up on a couple sets together. And Defending Jacob was one of those sets, and we were talking sort of about what we were trying to do with our careers. Sam wanted to, continue being an actor and really double down on that, but I was like, yeah, I'm not an actor. Like, I have no real interest in this. I'm basically just doing this because it's cooler than working at a liquor store. And he was like, oh, well, if you're like trying to do like behind the camera work, like there are these people I can introduce you to. And the first of those people was Evan Schneider. And so I did actually, in fact, Kyle Gregory's first movie, Blood Brothers. And that was
cool.
not my first time gripping. I had done like a student short that I found like a post on Craigslist asking for people to work for free for. But like, that was like, it was a student short. It was bullshit. Like Kyle's thing was like the first, like, the closest thing to a real movie I had ever done. And so I did that. That was like, Evan shot that, obviously, and then it was Rob Smith gaffing and Walton Hall as the key grip, and I was one of Walt's people, and I was like, yeah, this is like pretty fun. And I did that for about a year before I started getting key positions. And your shorts actually were two of the first things that I ever gaffed that were like significant. Like I had done like I had jumped in on some student shorts before. Yeah. I had done a couple of like very small corporate shoots or like other like events oriented things, but those were actually two of the first things that were like actual like narrative projects where I was able to like fully be in control of lighting.
Yeah, training. So like I feel like I do this a lot with people because I really like I'm somewhat of an easy sell when it comes to stuff. But also like if I feel like you're talented, like, and if you inspire me, like you got the job. So like Jaden, right? Mm-hmm. I gave Jaden the DP job on Training Wheels and I'll Call You. Because the kid is like he's like the guy who did Oppenheimer, what's his name? Hoytema, yeah. Jaden, I gave him that. I would love to have Jaden on this. We could talk. He could so shit talk me for like hours about a million different things that I put that poor kid through. He's like 18, going into his first year of film school, literally making, I don't want to tell his whole story without him, but like literally making short films with his little brothers in the backyard. And I'm like looking at the shots, like hardcore critiquing. Like, well, why would you put the camera there? Why wouldn't you put it there? Everything else. And no, he was just great, though. I mean, super inspiring, tons of ideas. And I like when people bring ideas in, which also kind of tends to bite me in the ass because, like, if it's not the right person, like, if I like the idea, great. If I don't like the idea, it's not like I don't like you. It just means that idea doesn't work for this setup or whatever it is. But typically when it comes to lighting and stuff like that, like I feel like I give you, I'm like, here's what I'm kind of going for. And you're like, what if I gave you Hollywood? And I'm like, thanks. Yeah, sure. I'll take it.
I think honestly, like, the only time you've ever cut me off on a set was not like verbally, like cut me off
go
from
for it.
doing something.
I don't give a shit. Go.
Was, on, I guess it would have been, yeah, I think it was I'll Call You.
I cut everybody off on that.
No. What it was actually, it was in the bar scene. I was just trying for it. I think it was probably almost 40 minutes trying to get this one spotlight to just be exactly circular and correct. And, you know, the issue was just that I didn't have the right attachment for the lamp. I needed a spotlight attachment that would have just already made it a circle, but I was trying to like jerry rig it with this black wrap and it was just looking like crap. And you came in and you were like, look, this just looks like crap. Like we're not going to fix this.
But we did fix it.
We did. I think we wound up doing something else later, but in the moment you came in and were like, we need to stop doing this. This is a waste of time, which was the correct call.
Yeah, no, yeah, it was, yeah. I mean, I want you to have like as much fun as you can have, but we also have to make a movie.
Yeah.
So like,
which is good. And I mean, that's what the director is supposed to do. The director is supposed to look at the big picture. I was looking at the small picture of, I want this lamp to look perfect. And you were making a movie.
So I thought you were going to say something else entirely where okay. So if you just meet me for the first time, you might think I'm snapping at you, but then after you know me for a while, you'll know when I'm snapping at you. You know what I mean? Like I'm very cutting on set. And also a thing that I need to work on is when I'm directing a film, I need to learn how to sleep during a shoot, and I really don't.
Yeah.
So like day 3, when I like snap on people and go crazy, it's because I haven't slept in 3 days, and like it's a micro budget nothing shoot with like, you know, 25 kids that I'm like, it's like it becomes like a day camp, you know what I mean? And I'm like guys, like we just gotta, you know, like everybody's there to cash the check, so let's make sure that we're making it worth it, you know, which we do. One time that I snapped on you, Billy, that I regret, because the shot, I mean, it looks great, but you were 100% right, and I didn't understand at the time. It was that bar, same movie, right? There's all sitting at a bar, and we had that wide shot of the 4 of them sitting at the bar,
right?
And because we were shooting it in black and white, I didn't realize like how much light would be needed.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Well, there were really 2 things with that bar. One was we were shooting it day for night, and that was like a whole setup thing, was that we were trying to slow down the light coming in through the windows, because in particular, Jaden wanted to shoot this one like profile that actually looked out the window, and we... it wasn't a Hollywood production. We didn't have like 20 by 20 double nets that we could just like sling over those windows, because they were like floor to ceiling windows.
Right.
So that was one thing that ate up a lot of setup time. But then, yeah, I think the thing you're referring to is
it's a still shot, tripod shot.
You're talking about the establishing wide, and the thing that took so long was really a bar like that just has a lot of nooks and crannies where light can be shielded from, and you have to fill all those nooks and crannies, especially in black and white, because you don't have the clarity of definition that color would provide.
Right. And
is black, it's just black.
I was so like, I don't know, I guess ignorant of that like style of shooting or whatever. And it just caused like chaos, and I was like, fuck, but like looking back, like you were saying to stop down the aperture of the camera more. You know what I mean?
Yes. Right. Well, that was largely because of the day for night. I was trying to get Jaden to shut down a little bit and help me.
And you were right. And you're like, oh, we'll just pump it full of light. And I'm like, no, it's supposed to be nighttime. Like I was an idiot. You know what I mean? On that, I just remember, I'll never like forget that.
And that's something with day for night too, where like all of the usual sensibilities you would have about shooting a night scene get reversed, because suddenly the issue is that you actually have too much light, and so you're like, oh well, I have to take the dark places that aren't being hit by the sunlight and make them bright, because normally in a night scene that's what would be like ultra bright, and then the deep background would be
I wish there was another term for it, and like there's no way we're going to be able to create one, but like I wish there was another term for black and white, because it's not black and white, it's like silver, like everything is a shade of gray. And those like tones.
Well, I mean, there's grayscale, but that's like not a sexy term.
It's not. Yeah. It's like But like, you know what I'm saying though? Like it's like it's not exactly blacks and whites on the screen. Like everything is that shade of gray. Colors. We didn't really get into a lot of colors. Like John Demers in that, he was wearing a black top for a lot of it, and he has a black beard and black hair, and he was wearing a black top, and so it was like he was floating eyes for a lot of it. Like and like we made it work. The film looks great. I love that movie. I think it's awesome. And it looks amazing. But little things like that are you don't want to have I guess technically it's not a bad thing though, because you don't want to have like a $60 million shoot or $100 million shoot, and then you're fighting on set about the aperture. Like you want to like work these kinks out on a little indie set. You know what I mean? But yeah, sound, rolling. I hear that in my sleep. I do. Rolling. Sound rolling. Yep. It's awesome.
Speed.
Yep.
Speed.
Yep. Yeah. No, it's great.
I actually worked oh god, I've been working so little lately. This was probably 2 months ago now. I did a short with a sound guy who would never say speed or rolling. He would just nod at the AD, just like the worst form of communication.
Awful.
And we were doing like day exteriors, so there was just like, you know, there was like noise everywhere. There was like a road nearby, and like it was just completely just nonverbal communication.
That's insane.
It was terrible.
That's actually really funny. So one thing that I do, and I'm sure you noticed this, like this is what I mean by speak my language kind of deal. If there's some shit going on, okay, if there's some people that are like goofing off in the corner or whatever it is, and they're doing nothing, I will, whether we're ready or not, I'll just be like, right, roll sound. And you'll be like, sound is rolling. Like very loud. And then all of a sudden everybody shuts up, and it's such a good diffuser on set. Usually though, we're not ready for a take, but you know, when we are ready for a take, it's still, it's good. But it does work. I appreciate the help. I don't know if it's the fear of being caught on a hot mic, or if it's like,
I think it's just an instinct. Like you get it bred into you when you work on set.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh fuck, we're live. Like,
well, that's why it's weird. Like right when I said, okay, we're rolling, both of you guys shut up real quick, and I'm like, no, we're on the show this
hold
time.
on, no, we have
to
talk now.
Right? Exactly.
I know we're not used to being talent.
No.
I know and you're so talented, both of you. So it's great. What else is going on? What's like the craziest set story that either of you have? Like what's like, and you don't have to name names. And maybe listen, here's the thing that you have to realize before you say anything. Tell whatever story you want. If they come forward, if the person that you're talking about comes forward and says something, then they're just admitting that it's them.
That's true.
So like you can say whatever you want.
That's true.
You just don't have to just don't name who it is. Like don't name names, and then they'll be like, watch, you'll talk to that person, be like, that's a crazy story you told. And you'd be like, it was, wasn't it? You know? And I want to know what your craziest set story is, or craziest moment you had on a Wilco set is too. If you have one, it would be cool. But go ahead. What do you got? Something you can observe one too, like one that was observed.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like my favorite set story to tell is on this one really awful movie that we both worked on.
Oh, yeah.
Where there was this one day where...
I love how I instantly... we've worked on so many movies together, but I know exactly what movie you're talking about immediately.
Of course. Go.
So it was like this like low budget movie, but the director hired like a bunch of like B tier mob actors for it. And it was...
Is this my movie?
No.
Okay,
it was
sorry.
like... these were like guys that had like minor roles in like, you know, they were like fucking stunt doubles in Goodfellas.
Or they were in The Sopranos.
They did like an episode of Sopranos.
Yeah. Like minor characters in The Sopranos. Like every mob movie, like they're just like a small part of it, basically.
Yeah. Right. I'll bleep it. What's the movie name? Okay, go ahead, go.
Also a thing to bleep, like just as an example of this, one of the guys, like I think possibly the top billed actor, or maybe like second or third, or first was definitely, but so probably the second or third billed actor, was the guy that played the younger version of like the opening scenes of like the bit at the beginning where they're all kids.
Yeah. He played a cop in...
he was actually a good actor. He was actually one of the nicest guys on set.
Very nice.
He's like an actor.
Yeah.
Like an actor. Okay.
Yeah. A lot of other guys were entitled brats, but that guy was actually pretty nice.
Isn't it funny how how when people are less successful, right? Or when I say less successful, I mean like they haven't done as much, or they're not as well known. Those are the pricks.
Yeah.
Like they're always assholes on set.
So there's this one day, and we're shooting in a limousine.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like a stretch limousine, but there's only enough space for like me, the DP, and our first AD besides the actors. So I'm like wiring up
First AD?
Yeah, the first AD directed the scene instead of the director.
This was not a good movie.
Not a first AC? Like
No.
you didn't have a Colin?
No.
Why?
Wait, did we?
And also,
no, we had one.
The first AD
one,
was
not in the limousine.
Why would you? With
the first AD wasn't directing the scene. She was the second on that movie.
Oh, you're right. She was
the guy that was actually on paper. The first AD was
right.
just behaving as a UPM.
Yes,
and the second AD was actually calling the scenes.
Yes. was directing the scene as the second AD.
And also technically she was like the substitute second AD because that tall kid that was buddies with the producer, he was actually on paper the real second AD.
So anyway, we have like this like minor Sopranos actor. I go to lap him up outside of the limousine at the beginning of the day, and he's like telling me how he normally gets mic'd up, and I'm just like, he's like rubbing me the wrong way. He's rubbing me the wrong way.
He's
like,
both of you are. If either of you ever come to me during a shoot and say that there's a problem, I know it's actually a problem.
Right.
Like, that's shocking.
No, like he was like, he just had an attitude with him, and he was just like not talking to the crew like politely, like at all the whole day. So I'm like, dude, just let me do my job, because like he was like trying to tell me like what to do, like how to mic him, and I'm just like, all right, but like I got to do this.
Yeah,
just let me do it.
Yeah.
So that's my first little qualm with him. I'm just like,
oh, there's more.
Yeah, no, this is like we hadn't even gotten into the limo yet. So anyway, we shoot this scene in a limo. We get to this one shot where like the main actor is supposed to like it's like a birthday party in a limo with a bunch of like strippers, whatever. And the other guy comes in and he's like handing him cake. And we get through like half of the scene and there's a continuity error. Like he doesn't hand the cake. So our second
we have
AD,
a scripty on that one?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
So the second AD, but of course she wasn't in the limo.
Yeah, because they were terrible about stuff like that. And they didn't have a monitor outside.
No, they didn't know what was happening. They were just like, we just kept going.
I have a corollary to the story that I will give after Ryan's finished.
Yeah. What were you on? Were you at Gaffer?
I was the key grip on it. So I was outside the limo the whole time dealing with bullshit that was going on in the parking lot.
I don't even know what was happening outside the limo.
I do this all the time, and I promise we'll get back on track. Okay. But with regard to the limo, was it actually moving or no?
No, it was parked.
That was actually my job, was to make it look like it was moving.
Okay, no, that's right. Okay, so I was wondering. All right, so go ahead, go.
So we get through like half of this scene, and he never got the cake.
Yeah.
And our second AD, who's directing again, like didn't stop the scene, just let it keep going.
Mm-hmm.
And the actor, this small Sopranos actor who I had already fought with, was like, as we were rolling, stopped the scene himself. He was like, if you're going to direct, he doesn't have the cake. I have this audio file still.
I bet. I would never get rid of that audio file. If I were you, you must have some of the craziest shit saved. Oh my God, I wish we could play some of that here.
Man.
All right, yeah, go ahead.
So he yells at her.
You should check with see if he has the video of it.
He goes off on her, and like, she like starts crying. We leave the limo. We're just
this is on the second AD. That was in the car with you guys?
To be clear, the substitute second AD for like a super low budget movie. Yeah. So she was like what, 22 maybe?
Yeah,
you would like all basic. There. They had like all those URI kids had basically just graduated, right?
Yeah.
Right. Question:
so, yelling
was
at like
the
basically
fucking director
outside the limo?
Outside. Yeah.
Why?
Because he was bad at his job.
Okay, fair. That's a fair point. Yes. That's fair.
And he was spread too thin. He was also the writer, the producer, and the lead actor, and he could never figure out how to wear all those hats in a way that was conducive to good set conduct.
So, yeah, crying lady, and then what happens?
So we all leave the limo.
Yeah, take a $5.
Yep, basically. And his mic needs fixing. This Sopranos actor. I'm like, okay.
Sopranos actor.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I'll fix
Mr. Soprano.
I'll fix your mic. Yeah. And I'm just like, I said to him, I'm like, dude, you gotta be a little bit more humble here. The way you've been talking to the crew all day has been like really unacceptable. And he got pissed at me.
Really?
So pissed. Just yelling.
Oh my God.
So we got in like quite a verbal argument. And I stormed off. He was just like, "Don't talk to me ever again." And I'm like, "All right," and stormed off to my car.
I gotta say, listen, I gotta say, we work in an environment, especially with like younger, I will say younger crew people, and I'm not knocking anyone, but like I'm sure you'll admit this, like when you're in film school, right?
Sure.
Like the film school, they come out of film school usually, like being told how wonderful they are. And like how amazing they are. You know what I mean? Like directors, camera people, all these people, actors. There's a lot of coddling.
To a point, sure. But like it's like I don't think
egos.
I mean, egos. It depends on the school, I think.
Sure,
definitely.
That's fair. That's fair too.
I think specifically from my film school experience, it wasn't exactly like that. It's just like everything I learned in film school was kind of worthless. Like
I'm never going to ask you to go back to your, because you'll never, like, you're going to look at them as your friends. I'm talking about since you've been out of school.
Sure.
The other film school kids that you've worked with. Well, that means that it was probably you guys too. You know what I'm saying? Like you get humbled immediately, like once you're on a set.
Yeah, like literally, like as soon as you're on a set, you're just like, oh, wait, that's how this is supposed to work?
Right. Like I didn't know you out of film school.
No.
You know what I mean?
No.
And like obviously your friends and stuff, like they were never probably like rude to you, or like big egos with you or whatever you call it, egotistical or whatever it is. But when you're the guy and you're like hiring and all these people come in and everybody wants to be the director, everybody wants to like tell you how it's done, like there's some like, it's like you gotta kind of be like, yo, settle down. And one thing that I will like credit that I will give you is we will not even mention what shoot it was, but there have been some times where I have seen you like get yelled at by other people, and I mean this in the nicest way possible, only because I'm so large.
Mm-hmm.
But for a little guy, right, you stand your ground pretty well. Like you do not back down. For you to walk away from a situation is kind of a big deal.
Literally, just like it takes a lot to like piss me off, I think.
Yeah, you're usually on the outside, like looking in.
And the script supervisor followed me to the car, and I was instantly called out of my car. Like, I'm just like, okay, I'll get out of the car and fix this mic, because that's what the director wants me to do.
Right.
So I fix his mic. I don't say a word to him. And he comes up to me right after that, instantly angry, just so pissed off.
About what, though?
Just still the same conversation. He's still miffed about it. Just like...
The one where he blew up on you before?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, I've been in TV for 15 years.
Right, then why are you on this college shoot?
Literally.
What are you doing?
What are you doing on this?
It was October of 2020.
That's right.
Oh,
yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was like one of our first films back.
I gotta find
many months.
Yeah,
off.
I was a department head working for I think $200 a day, which
that's a good job
for a fucking feature. No, it's not.
Oh, fair.
Yeah,
well, no, it depends on how many days it is, but
I think we had 15 shooting days.
15 shooting days, but worth noting that 9 of them were consecutive with no weekend.
That's right. Yeah.
This was a bad shoot. Yeah, 200 days. 200 days.
No weekend days? Like you didn't take
Well, we
days
did. It just took until the 10th day of production for them to finally give us a weekend.
And like really bad. Like the few clips I've seen have just been really,
I mean, the
really
director
terrible.
wound up editing it himself, so.
But I do that.
Yeah, but you're an actual editor.
Yeah, that's fair.
This guy, in addition to not being a director, wasn't an editor. He was an actor.
He's an actor. Like, that's all he does.
So what happened? What was the end result?
So
did you fix the mic?
The first AD I did fix the mic. The first AD came up to me
and did
like basically separated us and was like, to me, he wasn't like mad at me. He was just like, something like this happens again. Yes.
No fucking way.
Yes.
But so you got chewed out a second time.
I got chewed out a second time. The UPM, technically first AD, came in and was like, that happens again, come to me. I'll take care of it.
Yeah.
I'm like, thanks.
He was a nice guy.
Yeah. Cool guy. Like, just some real wild stories.
Yeah. So my perspective on this, I was the key grip on this show, so our task for this was, and also worth noting, this whole thing with the limo was only the first half of the day. Like we were doing this in a parking lot, and then we were gonna have lunch in the parking lot, and then like go to. I think we were doing the car dealership for the second half of that day. If I remember correctly.
Oh, really?
How tropey can a mob movie?
It's not actually set at a car dealership.
It
was like the producer was buddies with someone who owned a car dealership, and so we were using like the office space upstairs as like a
it was like a clubhouse.
Oh, fair. It was in the trailer we just saw, the bit where they're sitting around the poker table. We shot that in the office
that looked
space
good.
in the
was
upstairs
that the
of
same day?
I think so.
That looked pretty good.
I mean, that was one of the I feel like half of that movie was like location bouncing, so I could just be mixing it up with a different split.
I don't think that was the same day. I feel like that's the only thing we shot.
Wait, no,
day.
I remember starting the day at the car dealership. Now I think of it, because I remember there was like a whole thing over the generator placement, and that was like what I spent the first hour of my day on. The whatever it was, that limo thing was only half a day. Is the main thing. So my focus for that day was like a lighting. Basically, it was a lighting gag. We wanted to make the limo look like it was moving. It had tinted windows. So we were doing like tree branches. We were doing the thing where you pass it in front of the lights.
Love it. I love that.
Yeah, poor man's process.
But like if it sells, it's like if you do it right,
I saw the footage later and it sold.
Yeah.
But point being, me and all the other grips and the gaffer were all just standing outside. There was like 6 of us, and we were all just like taking various positions along the 2 sides of the limo, doing our like cycle with the branch. So we saw all of this play out, but only the portions that happened outside the limo. So we would like see someone get in the limo, we'd hear some muffled shouting, see someone storm out of the limo, storm back into the limo. We saw your interaction because that happened outside the limo. Like just all the things that were like we got all the little snippets. It was very confusing to us. And then like later in the day, I talked to and like she talked to the second AD.
It's all right.
And was told what actually happened in there. But yeah, that one was very, very disorienting to be. There are a lot of things, I feel like, especially from like lighting department, because you're always like a little bit offset, where like you only get like the snippets of the ridiculous thing that's happening on set.
Right.
That one, and like the fact that there was like an actual sound barrier then between the shooting set location and the immediate proximity of that location made that one kind of confusing.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And then afterwards, like later that night, I wasn't there for this part, but I guess the producer, the producer, who was also another actor in this movie, was apparently shit talking like me and the second AD for handling it poorly.
To the rest of the crew.
To the rest of the crew.
But
we went out to get dinner.
Okay, what? Listen, it makes no sense. Like, if you're gonna, first of all, people, why does no one know how to shit talk? Like, I'm sorry. Like, listen, not everyone's gonna like you, and not everyone's gonna like me, and not everyone's gonna like anybody. But like, if you're going to shit talk someone, you don't do it to like their like brothers and sisters in the crew.
Yeah,
you know what
it
I
was
mean?
like
So
me
dumb.
and like the gaffer and the DP and like a couple other key crew were just like sitting down getting dinner with like this producer, and I think like the director was there and like 1 or 2 like cast members.
Yeah.
And he starts shit talking Ryan and this AD.
What was he saying? That's what I want to know.
Just talking about like how they were, he found them annoying. That was the other thing, because obviously like the actor is objectively in the wrong here in this situation.
Oh, yeah.
So he's like being as like roundabout as possible in his shit talking and just being like, oh, these people are really.
Well, it's also, so it's very like common, right, with people, and you see this with, I don't know what's the right word for it, children all the time. When they're wrong, they just go
Double
for what do they call it? What do they ad hominem?
Yeah.
Ad hominem attacks. Like me, I'd be like, if I would never, but I'd be like, you're short, you'd call me fat, that kind of thing. Like it's such bullshit, because it's like, oh, so you're just wrong. Like, it's like you just want to be angry for something because you're too. I love how it's considered too manly to apologize. You know what I mean? Like, oh,
well, the crazy thing was that, like, aside from presumably taking this guy's side off set, it wasn't immediately apparent to any of us that he personally had done anything wrong. Like, he was the fucking producer. He was like barely even on set.
But how close is he with the other guy?
I mean, he was definitely.
That is a big point.
That's the thing. No, because he was the guy that had the connections to all.
Oh,
the
well,
mob movie
that's
and
what
stuff.
it is.
Yeah,
He's
so-
defending his guys. You know, like, listen, I fully intend on future episodes. This is a disclaimer, okay? I fully intend on in future episodes to have actors on this show, but I am going to say something right now. Actors have to go to a mental place in some scenes regarding some certain things where I don't really ever yell at actors on set, ever, because I don't want to fuck with their acting.
Right.
I yell at crew people all the time. And if I can yell at you and be like, what the fuck, blah, 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 and then but like, it's about I only get pissed at like logistics. Like, I want it to be like, right, you know? And if it's not working, it's usually, when I say yelling, I don't mean like just berating you with shit. It's just at a higher volume. Well, I mean, literally yelling. It's not like, I don't say like, your mom's ugly. Like, I don't, it's not, you know what I mean? Like, it's not about stupid stuff. It's like, what do we need to get this done right now? Well, you know?
And I think like the especially silly thing with your story is that, you know, obviously all the conduct issues, all of that, very unprofessional.
Yeah.
The cherry on top of all of it is that the AD was right to let the scene keep going. You don't like stop a scene you don't stop a take that's going well cold in the tracks because of a single continuity error. Because if I remember correctly, what you were actually shooting was the wide. So it's like, just use the rest of the take. Like, let the actors stay in the headspace, finish the take, and then fix the continuity error on the next take.
Do you know how easy it is to like get a pickup of like passing someone a piece of cake or like,
and it was all at hip level. When they went in for the close-ups, none of that shit was visible. It was completely unnecessary to stop a take for that.
Yeah, so then after this
shoot, man, it's so frustrating.
So then after this shoot, with all this context of these actors, and I'm like, okay. So I should watch the first season of Sopranos to watch him die.
He does die.
He does die in the beginning, the end of the first season of Sopranos.
Pretty hard. Also off the record, so the guy in question...
Sorry, I'm like a big fan, so I can... Oh, no, he's an asshole?
He's such an asshole.
I love him.
He's an asshole in the show. He's an asshole in real life.
But yeah, very satisfying.
Poison ivy all over.
Yeah.
Oh my God, no! That makes sense. That guy's a fucking douche in the show.
Like,
it's funny.
Like, every single role.
Yeah.
Oh
He's
my
just like
God.
that.
What an asshole. Jesus Christ. And what have you done since then? What have you done since 1998?
I mean, that's what most of these
film
guys
for
were
college
like.
kids.
Yeah, it was like a lot of guys who had just done like other mafia stuff, but obviously like when that started becoming less fashionable, being a B act, like, you know, being like, you know, Pesci or De Niro or someone, like, obviously you're just going to be able to successfully pivot to other types of movies or just continue to be an A-lister for the occasion. Like, Pesci never really graduated from mob movies, but he also just had enough money that he could do like one movie every 2 years and be fine for it. And then also just retire early anyway. But someone who was like a B actor in these things, like, what's
that?
Next?
That's crazy.
Yep.
That puts such a hole. Like, I'm going to believe it. Don't worry. No one will ever know. But like the fact that like that's who it is insane to me.
Yep.
What a dick.
Yeah. So that's one of my favorite stories to tell about being on set because it's so insane to me.
Wow, what an asshole. I'm sorry. I'm sorry
No,
that
it's
happened.
fine.
No, it's crazy because that's like a great way. It's so... So this is my point about yelling. I never yell at actors. I yell at crew people all the time. But I yell at crew people on my shoots. Yeah. And if I see, like, if that had happened on my set, it's a great way to be like, oh, it's unfortunate you had such a small role. You're out. You're done. No one talks. I don't even talk to you like that. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy. Listen, filmmaking is supposed to be fun. We're supposed to be making art. It's a collaborative thing. It's a communal activity. Like, yes, they only have, like, it's the Leo DiCaprio and Martin Scorsese's new film, but like, while, like, on set, that experience is supposed to be like a fun experience. I have like seen actors, like, you know, acting in a scene and been like like brought to tears over how good the performance is of whatever it is, and be like, I can't wait for this to look good, and then it looks like shit on the monitor, you got to do it again. But I'm just saying, like you've seen some like, you know, amazing moments, and you build such great like friendships and connections, like lifelong friends. Like it's if it's going south, there's something wrong, and it's never like not okay to like take a break. Like you should take 10, take 5, breathe, let's recoup, let's reevaluate.
Especially
you know?
on the low budget stuff. Like it's one thing, I think, for people to have expectations of crew members when you're getting paid $40 an hour, and it's like, okay, like let's actually like deliver on that promise.
Sure.
But you know, you're doing something for like a fucking $150 a day rate or for free. Like, why the fuck are we rushing here? Like,
well, so I will say, right? That's a good point, and I understand that. But the caveat to that is like, if you're the person who's scraped together like $5,000 to make a movie,
no, obviously, but
and you're expecting your friends who may be there for free or maybe there for low rates, but you like, so the other side of that coin though, right, is that when everybody goes home who's not part of a post-production team, I will admit that like no one comes back. No one's, oh, the movie didn't work out, here's my paycheck back. Like it's like everybody gets paid, everybody goes home, or it's for free or whatever, and then you go off to your other jobs. You usually have to schedule stuff on weekends or schedule it around other people's real jobs. And then at the end of it, they're done. But you're out of the money that you spent on the film. So if they don't deliver on the day, like you're fucked. You know, that's why I get bitchy, because I'm like, listen, I love everybody. We just got to do it, though. We just got to make the movie. Let's make the movie, and then we can all talk about how it was bad or what your ideas were after we make the movie. But for right now, let's just make the movie, you know? But I totally agree. Like, you don't want to, and then plus, like, locations, like, you're using someone's aunt's house, you know? You're using, like, somebody's, like, friend's car dealership's upper office room.
Yeah, right.
Like, and if they need that space at 3 o'clock, like, you only have so much time. So there's a lot of favors and stuff like that go into it. But even still, it kind of sounds like there was a total lack of leadership from the top.
Oh, 100%
down.
That was a recurring theme on that one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I like it like borderline military crew, you know, like legit, like, we laugh, but like you are, you know, this is why you two are always on set, always 100% of the time. I'm not an asshole. I'll talk to PAs. I'll get input from PAs. I'm not like the guy who's like, oh, you're a PA. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that. I don't care what the position is. But if you're doing your job, I'll be your best friend in the whole world. If you're not doing your job, you just be fired. It's okay. It's fine. You'd be fired. Like, that's it. You just go home and you never work in this studio again. I'll tell you that much. Like, you'd be out. You'd be gone, you know? And then at lunch, I'll sit with people. I'll chit chat. You can give me your input at lunch in the middle of a take, right? I don't need you to like stop everything and be like, wouldn't it be better if we went? It wouldn't be better. And now this isn't good either because you've interrupted. Oh my God. Yeah. I get crazy. It's crazy. All right. I want a crazy story from you. From a different set. I know you were both on the same set.
No. I think that's probably the story from that set. Minus things that happened afterwards, but that doesn't really count to the question you were asking.
Yeah,
we had like a lawsuit. We had to sue them for fucking paychecks.
Shocker.
Right. Yeah.
Shocker.
We had to file
Sounds
for
like
wage
something
theft.
where that would be the next plausible
and
thing.
it was such a small amount of money too. It was so stupid. Like most of us were only owed a couple $100, but it was just like a matter of principle. And frankly, October of 2020.
Yeah, true.
So like, you know, someone stiffed me for $300 right now, I'd take them to court to get that $300. But anyway, no, I think the actual one I want to tell is, I think, impossible to tell without identifying information, because it is a film that is completely unlike anything else I think that has ever been made. And the second you start describing it, it's immediately obvious what it is.
Okay.
Have you weren't on, but
God.
wait, have you heard about this one though?
No.
Okay, let me see if I can figure out a way to talk about it. And
I hear about like what you guys tell me. Like that's it. That's why I like this, because it gives me an excuse for you to come here and talk. You know what I mean?
This is
just don't worry that there's going to be like 10,000 other people that hear it. But go ahead.
Yeah.
I was only on one day of this one.
Just kidding. I'm kidding. Go.
No, I think I can do it. I think I can do it in a non-identifying enough way.
Okay.
So this was one of the first things I ever worked on. Actually, this was probably late 2019.
Yeah.
Right after, as I explained earlier, I got my start gripping for Evan. This was like one of the first things where Evan was like, okay, like you're the person now. Like you're like not just like one of the free grips, you're the paid grip. So this was a big deal for me. I was like, oh shit, and it's a feature. Like wow, I'm really doing hot right now. I didn't learn this until a little bit later. I was not the first person to key grip this movie.
Oh no!
There was like I actually many years later, after the pandemic, I was standing around on the set of About Fate, which was an HBO movie I did with a couple of the other grips and electricians. And we all came to a collective realization that at various points in its production, all of us had been either the gaffer or the key grip on this movie. Just for like 2 or 3 day stints before we were like, this is fucking too much, and quit.
As crazy as I can be, does that ever happen on my, like everyone does like they're never that insane.
No, I mean, you get the people back, so you know, like it's not that bad.
Yeah, but there's usually a lot of like
particular brand of just insanity. Just
I think it was to Andrew when on the episode when Brittany was here. I said something about I'll call you and how I made like there were some people that I made cry, and then when I make someone cry, I end up crying. So I was crying, and I was like, but other than that, I was like, other than that, I don't really cry in front of a lot of people. I go, except Ryan Collins. I cry in front of Ryan Collins all the time. I'm like crying. Everything's falling apart. And you're like, shut up. Everything's fine. Like, leave it alone.
It's okay.
You'll be all right. You'll be all right. I'm like, yeah, it's really bad. It's bad. Bad. Go ahead.
So this is one of those sets, though, that is like a legendary New England, like this was a fucking mess, and everyone who worked on it was miserable.
Jesus.
I mean, Evan was shooting it, and he wound up quitting midway through, which is how I wound up coming off. And they apparently replaced the whole crew and finished the movie, and now it exists somewhere in the world. I think you can pay some amount of...
I will say, Evan's really not a quitter.
He's not.
He puts up with a lot of shit.
I think it is the only... It's only the only time I've ever been working with him that he quit a movie, and only the second time I've even heard of him quitting a movie.
Jesus Christ. He's like a one-man band that...
Who?
Evan.
Oh, yeah.
But like he doesn't have to be a one-man band. If you need 50 people on set, he will bring you 50 people. Yeah. And like it just happens.
Right.
Like it just happens. No, Evan's great. Evan's really great. He gets stressed because a lot falls on his shoulders. Same reason I get stressed, you know? Yeah. But go ahead, tell me a crazy story.
The actual thing. So I got brought onto this to Key. It was my first time ever. And I come in and we're doing 2 days of shooting. The basic premise of this movie, there are a lot of things that are actually supremely fucked up about the premise of this movie.
I think I know which movie this is already.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's
Would it have anything to do with like
beloved comedian?
Oh, it's that movie?
Yes.
Oh, Collins told me about this movie before.
Okay. Yeah. Colin pulled focus for a couple days on it.
Yeah, okay. Oh my god.
So I show up to do a 2-day stint on this. It's a location in Arlington. It's a theater, and specifically what we're doing is like we're shooting a stand-up set, basically.
Yeah.
He's supposed to like bomb at the beginning of the movie, and then he kills at the end of the movie, and it's like bookmarks for his character, whatever.
Oh.
So we're there for 2 days. We shoot it 3 times.
Bookends for the character.
Sorry, bookends, yeah,
okay.
not bookmarks.
Okay. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
We shoot basically 3 things. We shoot the set where he bombs, which we shoot in like a small, like almost like a lobby, I think, and then we shoot for like a full day, him doing his routine, but without an audience. We get all like the close-ups and the jib shots and the blah, 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 blah. Yeah. And then we do an actual, like we basically shoot it like a taped live performance. Like he actually sells tickets to this thing to fundraise for the movie, brings a bunch of people in. So a litany of things happen, all of which are ridiculous and all culminate in the decision for everyone to collectively quit. First thing that happens is we're shooting the single stuff, like without the audience. And, you know, as movies often result in, several takes of something, especially when we're shooting a stand-up set and we're trying to get a bunch of different points of coverage on it. And he's getting like visibly irritated as the takes are going on. And it's at one point then the first AD stops him, because that's the other thing. This guy is directing, acting,
I was just gonna ask,
and producing this movie all by himself. Like he's not even co-producing or anything. Like it's all him.
Like me if I acted also in my movies.
Yes.
Okay.
And cherry on top, because you know the premise of this movie, he's in character when he is directing. Bad. Very, very bad.
Okay, so just for a few, so just to give a little bit of a premise, hold on. So it's just hear me out. So it's about a comedian.
Yes.
A comedian who bombs, and then by the end of the film, he does well.
Yes.
Okay. That's just so people who are listening understand.
Yeah.
Okay.
There are other fucked up character beats that happen that make this movie morally reprehensible, but those are the ones that are important for this story.
Right. The guy is an impersonator.
Yes, he's an impersonator that gets inhabited by the spirit of a very famous comedian.
I'm out. Blow me. If you bring me that script pitch, I'm out. I'm not making that movie. You know what I mean? What?
It's really
They
bad.
never got permission from the estate of the person he's impersonating, by the way. So
do you need permission to be an impersonator?
Probably. For someone that died less than 10 years ago,
I don't know.
At least I think it's a moral requirement. It's not a legal one.
There's a lot of Elvis people out there is all I'm saying.
Yeah, well, Elvis died like 50 years ago.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
I think there's like
there's
a accounting for taste thing. His daughter's like 30. Like,
yeah, no. I know. That's crazy. Oh my god. God, I wish we could pull up the trailer for that. It's so bad. It's cringy
so
as
bad.
fuck.
God, the music they used. So anyway, he's, directing in character Already Bad News Bears, and he's clearly getting visibly irritated. So the first idea after a take finishes is like, hey, like, what's going on? Like, it feels like you're kind of shifting around a little bit in your performance here. Like, do we need to do something to accommodate you? And he's like, well, nobody's laughing anymore, like referring to his jokes. And first idea is like, well, what do you mean? Like, why? With a crew, like, and he looks around, like to check for an audience, and he's like, "There's no one here who would be laughing." And I was like, well, the crew laughed the first couple takes when I told jokes, which, to be clear, I did so out of politeness, not out of because he looked to us for reactions, so I did like a little,
oh my
as
god,
like as
so painful,
and to be clear, this is like he's up on a stage. This is a conversation that him and the first AD are basically shouting at each other from across a large theater in full view of the entire crew. And he's like, well, no one's laughing. This is like 10 takes deep. No one's laughing at my jokes. Like, I feel like I would be giving a better performance if people were laughing, and then it would feel like I was giving the performance. First AD tries to mitigate this by saying like, oh, well, we're going to have an actual audience on site tomorrow. Like, you'll get that organic reaction and feedback back. This goes back and forth for a while. Eventually the resolution is that they want us to fake laugh at his jokes.
Are you
during the
fucking
take? They want us to make noise during the take and completely defeat the purpose of shooting singles without an audience, by the way. Like, the whole reason for doing that is to get clean audio of the stand-up set.
Are you fucking kidding me?
And
you must have just rolled your eyes like
there.
Oh, okay,
it was so
okay.
No, yeah, there was a different guy doing sound by that point.
I was only there one day.
Just make sure we're pulled in a little bit closer.
I was only there one day.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said you were the only one that stayed.
No,
That was the main movie. This thing shot in like Arlington. Like, this was the main thing was just a different movie that Evan quit. That was much more amicable though. This is the fucked up one.
Yeah.
So that was the first thing, was that he made us laugh at his shitty jokes. The second thing was, so we get the audience in for the next day, and they put us in the crowd because not enough people bought tickets. So they use the crew members who aren't actively, manning a camera or a soundboard or whatever.
I was gonna say, okay, so I will say I would. That's
that's a normal thing to do.
Totally normal, right?
It was like, oh, okay, like I'm really slumming it right now in the moment, but like realistically, like that is the correct decision. Like you've got all these extra bodies. Not working.
Even in Barbie, like if you're gonna be on camera, like they had them dressed up. Like there's a scene where they like run around the pool or something. Like there's and they like had them in character, like dressed up, like grips and stuff. So like there's like big jib shots and everything.
Yeah, so that you don't catch the crew members,
right? And they'd be in the scene later. Like this is normal. That's normal stuff.
Yeah,
maybe not crowd filling necessarily, but
And it was especially because this was like sort of an unconventional thing where he did a full hour-and-a-half set. Just taped as a live performance, and most of us were not needed to be actively working during that live performance. It was like we would have just been sitting around backstage on our phones. I can't believe he
sold tickets. Were the people who like hired you? Because I'm assuming you didn't get a random phone call from this impersonator guy.
No, it was through Evan.
Right. So okay, but like when Evan got hired, was he aware? I should have Evan on the show. But like, I would love to inquire about this stuff.
You could ask him a lot of.
Oh, yeah,
I love making Evan laugh because he has a very I don't want to say childish. It's like childlike sense of humor. So once I get him to like giggle, it's over. Like I'm done. Like I'll like start. Oh yeah, so it's so much fun. Evan's fun to make laugh. He's a good guy. But I just wonder if like when Evan got the phone call, if he was aware that the funding for the film would come from selling the tickets to this show.
It wasn't strictly from that. I think it was like a
boost.
We're going over budget. Let's figure out a plan for stabilizing.
So we write a whole scene that didn't exist before?
No, the scene always existed. I think the original plan was just to get unpaid background actors, and then this was just sort of like maybe we could do this instead, and then that injects another couple $100 into our, funding coffers
that's
here.
Fair. That's fair.
I think it was a perfectly legitimate thing to do. It was just unconventional, which is why I wound up as crowd filler in this scene. And so we get asked, I think by Evan actually, because this is a perfectly natural thought to have to someone who, as far as he was aware, was simply just going to be shooting a taped recording of a normal show. We get asked, like, and by the way, like, keep an eye out for anyone that might be doing anything that looks bad on camera, basically. Like, if someone's like, being obnoxious or like talking during the performance, or like, kind of be our crowd police a little bit and like make this look more like a scene and a little more photogenic if you can. But no stress, you don't have to. Guy, maybe
no stress, just make it look professional, but don't worry about it. But like if you see somebody, knock them out.
Fucking kill
like,
them.
Yeah, kill them. Yeah. But don't let us see that on camera. But
yeah. 5 or 6 seats away from me, this is maybe now 10-15 minutes into this painfully bad stand-up set, this guy starts heckling him, like loudly, like, and then it goes on for a minute or two. His date, I assume his date, I actually to this day don't know really.
This is one of the people that bought a ticket to this thing.
Well, so we're not there yet.
Wait, what? It's not a crew member though.
No.
Oh,
no,
okay.
This is a guy in the audience.
Okay.
Starts heckling. Starts heckling the performer.
Yeah. Sorry, it's just so bad.
This guy's date seems very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And then the performer starts responding in a way that it does not feel natural. Starts like having almost like a conversation with this heckler. I look across the room at Evan, who's operating one of the cameras, and give him a sort of like, what do I do in this situation? Like, I don't know, like, what the fuck's going on here? I see Rob Smith, who's also operating a camera across the room. He is also looking at this happening. None of us know what the fuck to do. And a little bit of this goes back and forth, and I start... I believe the way the order in which this happens is they're going back and forth. He keeps heckling him. The responses feel inorganic. I kind of make a move to like get out of my seat and come over to the heckler and be like, my plan was basically, I was like, I'm going to ask this guy to leave or at least shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
And looks at me and like does like a little like this.
And
the performer on stage.
I'm sorry.
looks at me and does like a little like this. And like, okay. So I go back to my seat. The guy doesn't heckle him again. We finish up, get the people out. And then and then I go over to start helping to break down the cameras because.
So he thinks it's good. Like the performer thought it was good that the heckling was happening.
He paid the guy.
He didn't fucking tell us that he.
So that's why it sounded inorganic. Like he had prepped like lines.
He hired a heckler with like prepped responses and didn't tell us that he did that.
Oh my god!
So that's number 2. That was the second big red flag thing that happened on this set. We are now like a day and a half into shooting this.
Good for you know what? Good for Evan for walking out the fucking door. I would have quit so quick.
And this was our final thing. Was that this was the thing that actually finally we were all just like, nope, we're not doing this. We're getting the fuck out of here. Was on the final day of the shooting the location, he accused the makeup artist of a makeup artist who, by the way, is sober, like does not drink.
Sure.
He accused her of drinking backstage. And when we pushed back against him on this, we figured out that he smelled alcohol, referring to the rubbing alcohol in her makeup kit.
Yeah.
And that's when we were like, no, this is bullshit. We're getting the fuck out of here. This is not acceptable. And I heard all sorts of other, wonderful horror stories about this production from the days I wasn't on. Rob told me they were shooting a scene where the guy wakes up and inhabited by the spirit of this person who he's impersonating starts jacking off because it's his first time in a human body in a couple of years. And
I think they did that take like probably
they did it
20 something times.
Yep. And
the first AD had to like come and like tuck him back in like at the beginning of every take.
And then the gaffer, this guy Rob, who was the gaffer at the time, and this is how they lost their first gaffer, as somewhere around take 15 or whatever,
of the masturbation
scene. Yeah. The actor needs to fart, and instead of exiting the room or at least even verbalizing this, just lifts up the blanket and farts out the little corner of the blanket directly into the face of the gaffer, who was like Hollywooding a bounce board at the bottom of the bed. And Rob just puts the bounce board down and walks off set, never to return. And that's how they lost their first gaffer.
Oh my god, that's crazy.
And this was one of the stories I learned when I met up with all the other prior gaffers and key grips of this project on the set of About Fate.
Oh my god, that's insane. That's insane.
Yeah, it really was. Because the other thing too about Fate was it was a tier. It was a made-for-TV HBO movie. There were like 5 people on grip and 5 people on electric, and like more than half of us had worked on this fucking movie. Like,
yeah, I remember when Colin first told me about that. He was like, "You want to see something kind of crazy?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure."
Great Colin impression.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, like this with the mustache. And I was like, yeah, sure. And he was like kind of explaining like the premise. And at first I was like, oh, that sounds kind of cool. He goes, bro, it's not cool.
Well, I got sold the premise too as like, oh, like it got narrated to me as like almost like a being John Malkovich type of thing. And the way it was expressed originally made it sound legitimately cool. Like I was like, oh, this is like an interesting commentary on like stardom and like the way we engage with celebrity, and particularly for the specific actor that was being impersonated. Like there was like a lot of baggage associated with that public image that like made it more interesting.
Yeah.
And then wound up on set and it was about a guy jacking off in bed
and lifting his like the fart on crew members.
Yeah.
And paying people. Can you imagine? Like I'm sure that comedians get heckled all the time. Like if you're not funny, like especially when people do pay to
people
actually
do plans.
go.
Yeah, they loved it because, oh my god, those moments, like those like little exchanges always like go so viral on social media. So people will always like throw some random person in the crowd as a plant, like make them say some stupid
I
like
can't
bigoted
imagine.
bullshit. And then,
Definitely.
all the time. Like that's like such a thing for like no name comedians to like try and get themselves a name, is like, oh yeah, we like pay someone to be a plant in the audience and they'll say some stupid shit, and then I get to get like a good one liner in on them because like I'm like the smart guy here.
That's so dumb. That's so dumb.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's
know.
definitely a thing. I feel like it's less of a thing out here, but in LA, it's a big thing.
Oh well, yeah, everything's fake in LA. But if you like are actually trying to become a stand-up and then you're paying people to heckle you, when you actually get heckled for the first time, you're fucked.
Oh yeah,
you're fucked because they're gonna I mean, you're not gonna be able to say anything. You're gonna be like, wait, my brother is supposed to heckle me in 20 minutes. Don't say anything yet. Yeah. Wait a minute. No, wait, why are you talking?
This is real?
That's
People
crazy.
actually do this?
Yeah, that's
Is
insane.
this allowed?
No, it's got to be crazy. All right, what's the
I did see one comedian do a really good bit where they like pretend to have paid someone to be a heckler and then start giving the heckler shit for fucking up their lines.
Yeah, I also saw that. That was a good one.
Yeah, that's fucked.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. That's got to be the worst thing. You know, like some people have like fears of public speaking and like all that stuff, and you got to get over that. Obviously, you shouldn't really have a fear of public speaking if you're trying to be a stand-up.
Yeah.
But I feel like
that career.
I'm sure that something that kind of intimidates people who are trying to get into stand-up is the idea of them. Like, it's like got to be the biggest insecurity is like, what if I'm not funny up on stage?
Yeah.
And then in turn, like, what if people heckle me and whatever, right? But then you're paying people so that you can get that viral moment, so you can get big enough. Like, I don't know. I just feel like it's one of those things where if you're talented, you're gonna get big. It's gonna be a lot. Why do people think like, how old are you now, Ray?
28.
And how old are you?
27.
Okay. We should have asked it in reverse because I would have said 27, 28, and then I'm 29. But no, but like my thing though is when did it become?
We can always just do it again.
Yeah.
Take two. Take two.
Can I get my second AC in here, please?
Second six.
Yeah, second six. Rolling. Roll sound.
Rolling.
Speed.
Yeah. I roll camera. So I don't know when it became fashionable to like not work hard. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and everything takes time. Like everything takes time. I obviously, like when I started this company, it's like been an investment and an accumulation of stuff like over the years, and I'm still nobody. And I'm fully admitting that I'm nobody. I'm not Scorsese, and I would love to be by the time I'm Scorsese's age, but that's a long way away. Like that's like there's so much more that has to happen, and I'm excited for like what the future holds. You know what I mean? And filmmaking and everything else. But I'm the first person to admit that like nobody knows who the fuck I am, and then I'm cool with it. You know, like I started this not for the clout, but for like the excuse to have you drive up from Rhode Island.
Yeah,
it's so much fun. If it grows, great. If it doesn't, I'll have these for when I'm 90 and I'm looking back going like, oh, remember when I had friends? Like, you know what I mean? Like that's what it's for. But like the cool thing for me is like I go in, I do my job, I work, and I don't expect anything out of it except like finishing that day's work. Everybody who's like looking for that viral moment is thinking that they're going to be super big the next day. And there's no way that that's like a good thing. Like you hear these like Disney child stars and all these people that like become super famous overnight and then like they go to like drugs and alcohol and everything else. It's because it's like not normal for 7 billion people to know who you are in one day. Like that's abnormal.
Well, and I think too with like the thing you're describing with specifically like viral internet moments or other things as like mechanisms for jumping. Like now there is like not only is there an entire stereotype of like how you fail out of that launch pad, there's also like an entire taxonomy of language over the processes by which you fail out of that.
Can we try that again in English? What the fuck's a taxonomy?
Well, you know, like have you ever heard the phrase milkshake duck?
No.
Milkshake duck.
Yeah. So there's like this phrase, it was coined on Twitter to specifically refer to the moment after someone goes like super, like a semi-anonymous person goes super viral for an innocuous moment. And then the revelation that usually comes like 3 or 4 days later to find out that that person like sucks in a kind of benign way that is still like repulsive to the internet at large. And so like that person gets publicly and like violently disowned in the public eye.
Okay,
but you know, like how like every time there's like fucking, I feel like the original one of these was like that, what was it, Chewbacca mom. She's that like woman that went on like the Jimmy Kimmel show or whatever in like a Chewbacca mask, and then like she was like a celebrity somehow for like a week before. What even was the thing?
I don't know.
It was like some stupid bullshit that.
Yeah.
I think she was like Mormon or something. It was like something incredibly stupid that resulted in her becoming like a controversial figure.
Oh, everybody's controversial these days.
Well, and that's kind of the thing, is that like that mechanism of virality is like inherently set up to fail, because when you get so suddenly introduced on such a massive scale to a wide group of people, like they're looking for a way to pick you apart, because people always do that to celebrities. And if you're someone who has slowly become famous over a long period of time, you've kind of built out like defenses
100%.
against that sort of thing. You probably have like hired publicists or other things like that.
Sure.
And so you know how to work within the confines of celebrity, whereas a person that goes viral for pushing back against a heckler at their like basement comedy show in LA probably does not have those mechanisms.
100%. I think the thing with going viral is like they're called viral moments for a reason.
Yeah.
Like if you're trying to get famous off a viral moment, like you better be able to deliver on the regular.
Yeah.
Like if you're like scrolling through TikTok and you see a comedian that you may not have heard of before, right? And they have a viral moment where they like, you know, they own a heckler, like hardcore ownage, man. And then you like go to their
material sucks ass.
But then you like go to their page and they like suck, and it's not, or they're at least not like consistent. You know what I mean? Like I've had clips on TikTok that like really like explode. I do nothing different. I just continue doing like my show or the other show that we do, and we just keep going, because not every clip blows up, and but we consistently gain a little bit, little bit, whatever it is, and that's fine. But like if you're trying to like make your entire life around one viral moment, like you're reading the whole like recipe backwards, you know?
Do you use Letterboxd at all?
I don't, because I've never, one thing, part of the reason I like podcasting so much is because I've never been into blogging, because
that is basically what it is.
When someone, I have 3 writers, there are literally 3 writers that I will pretty much, no matter what they write, I'll be like, yeah, let's find a way to make this movie. Like I don't have to read it. Just give me the tagline and like, here we make it. Other than that, if I get a script, I will call other people and we will all pick apart and we will all read the script out loud. That's how I read scripts. I have zero reading comprehension. Yeah. If you're trying to get something out of me, obviously if you're a client and you have like a big list of things, like I'm going to sit there and read it and take the time to read it, just saying. But like if you're like trying,
look into the camera and say that.
Yeah, 100%. No, but like when it's a script,
I also read tech documents.
Yeah, or like, or when it's like a script, or it's like I'm very auditory, visual, kind of, you know, kinesthesis, kinetic, whatever you call it,
kinetic,
touch. You know what I mean? Like I have to do it. I don't know how to do things unless I like do them. Yeah. You know, whatever you call it, whatever it is.
Yeah, no, kinetic. Yeah, that's the right word.
Okay, so that's how I learn things, and that's how I like obtain and like secure information. So if you just send me like a novel, you know, oh, this book's based on a novel, I'm like, oh, is that the story about this thing? They're like, oh, well, yeah, but it's more in depth. You got to read it. I'm not reading it. I'm not reading it. I'm just letting you know. I'm not reading it. You know, like
this guy doesn't read the treatment.
God.
No, not a treatment reader. I'll have a treatment read to me though, and I feel like that comes off as super pretentious. But you have a better chance of me like buying / funding your film if you send a talking head video to me and read your treatment to me. I'd rather give you the money. It's just how I learn. It's just like my comprehension skill set. But yeah, how do we get on scripts?
I don't know.
Well, I was talking about Letterboxd and specifically.
Oh, that's why I never got into Letterboxd, because I'm not going to sit there and type out a big review of a film. No. I'd rather do a podcast about it. Go ahead.
The example I was going to use is there's this one very famous review on Letterboxd, like probably the only thing on the entire site that you could even refer to as a famous example, which is a review of Joker 2019 that just says, this happened to my buddy Eric. went very, very viral as like a joke review.
That's the whole review. Is
this happened to my buddy Eric?
Why would that not go? Like, who would not like that if you saw that on?
No, and that's what
it
is. It's 100%, and like that's what like a lot of Letterboxd is now. Is like a lot of like one sentence reviews that are mostly just jokes. They're not actually reviews of the movie,
and that's annoying.
But if you click on that guy's profile, the guy that posted and like this is like such a thing on Letterboxd that like other movies will have like as the top review. This happened to my buddy Eric. Like it is just like a catch-all for like crazy shit happens in this movie. Like this happened to my buddy Eric. That guy's account is literally just him trying to recreate that moment of mega success with Joker. Like he will just be like reviewing whatever is currently in theaters with this happened to my like fucking Jurassic World. This happened to my buddy Eric. Like, and it's very because it's like, you know, this guy didn't like he probably fucking typed that out while he was taking a shit and then never thought about it until a couple weeks later when it went like ridiculously fucking viral, and
that's where genius
now
happens.
that's just what he's known for.
Yeah. Did you watch that? I feel like this would be a Billy movie. Did you watch that movie Trumbo? It has the guy from Breaking Bad in it.
It's not really a Billy movie. I don't like biopics in general.
Oh no,
They're
no,
just
I
not
just
really
meant,
my speed.
That wasn't at all what I meant. Yeah, it was more.
Oh right, side. Because he's a blacklisted communist.
Yeah, he's a total commie.
No,
so I
never saw that one. I mean, I know like the story of Dalton Trumbo.
The only reason I bring it up is because you said the guy wrote it while he was taking a shit, and Trumbo used to type. He had like one of those like suburban housewife wine trays for the bathtub, and he would type on a typewriter in the bathtub.
Yeah,
I just thought that was funny.
I have seen that specific.
See, I like visualize
the
thing, like memory visual thing. It's all like how I like perceive stuff, which is part of the reason I like making movies, and I'm not like an author or something or whatever, because I like everything in my life. I'm like, oh, it's like that from that movie this or from that movie that, and I pull that. When I was talking to you about the film that we shot a couple Januaries, oh my god, so long ago. A couple Januaries ago, and I sent you. I was like, okay, this is the look.
Or?
Yeah, no, a Line of Duty.
Okay.
When I sent you for that final shot, right?
You mean the one that we did over here, right?
Duty,
yeah.
Yes.
And I sent you the thing, and I was like, this is kind of what I'm going for. And then afterward, that was a crying text where I was like, I just love you so much.
Thank when you sent me the footage after you had created
because
it.
the clip, it's like exactly what I wanted. It was exactly what I wanted. It was perfect, and that was super cool. But it's like if I didn't Google like. Because I don't know, like maybe it's because I'm uneducated and dumb, and that's fine. But like I don't know how to describe everything with words all the time. Sometimes I just have to like let me show you.
And
like,
I mean,
give me a piece of paper and a pen.
That's like why you make movies.
Yeah.
And
that's fair.
You don't write books.
There's
that's
this
fair. That's
interview that I think it was David Lynch did, where this reviewer and obviously like David Lynch being like a very like imagery abstract kind of director.
100%, yeah.
This reviewer keeps asking him questions that are like, what does this mean? What is that? Like, what does this thing represent in your movie? And Lynch is getting visibly frustrated as the review progresses. And eventually the reviewer is just, you know, flatly like, you know, why aren't you interested in talking about this? Like, why don't you want to just tell me, you know, what these things mean? And he like puts the fucking mic up in his face and he's like, that's what the fucking movie is for.
Yeah, like go watch the movie. Go find your own interpretation. That's funny. Yeah, I actually got asked about. So we were on a set, not this past March, but the March before. We were filming a movie. And then I went to a festival recently where the film was like winning some awards, and someone from Avid Media, like the Avid.
Yeah,
I don't use Avid because I didn't go to college, so that's all they teach in college. So I didn't go to college, but but it's you know, Avid Media composes it's like industry standard for a whole bunch of different films and TV shows and everything. And someone who works for the company actually came up to me to ask what I edited the film on, and talked to me about the editing. And there's a scene in that film where a guy is smoking a cigarette at the table, and it like haunts my dreams at night because it shortens
the Godfather thing.
Yeah, it's like long and short, and he puts it out, but then he has it again, and then it's like I'm editing for the performance of the scene, right? The actors, and the acting was great. Everything was great. It was fine, but I get so like as loud and fun loving as I can be. Or angry or whatever, as emotive as I can be with like you guys, when it comes to someone who I don't know coming up to me and be like, hey, I work for this huge, like the industry standard of editing. I like turtled like so hardcore, and I was like, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I know. The cigarette, I know. Like so self-deprecating. And he was like, no, it was really good. I just wanted, I was like, oh, thanks. Appreciate it. I was like, thank you very much. But I was like, yeah, it is what it is. And I don't use your software. Like, I was like, I'm sorry. I don't use the software, but that's great. That's really cool.
Well, I had to do for Apophenia, we did like a little roundtable thing where it was the online screening series that we got accepted to the International Film Association of Philadelphia, which had a horrifyingly unfortunate acronym that we had to plaster all over our Instagram. The screening series came with there's like if you go on the Instagram account for the film, there's like you can see like a tile on the page that's just like IFAP in big fucking letters. It's
change your acronym, change your how do you not see that? How does no one like see that it says IFAP everywhere?
Yep.
Oh my god,
you could just switch 2 letters.
Yeah.
Independent Philadelphia Film Association or
Philadelphia Independent.
Yeah. Like there's so many different ways you could shuffle those letters around that don't result in IFAP.
It was on purpose.
But thank you for accepting his film. He loves you very much.
Yes.
You're a real one.
The screening series also contained as part of it a live streamed talk back event with the filmmakers, and we basically went in a circle and talked about our films. There were like 7 of us in total, so I spoke for very little of it, but it's a nerve-wracking thing to suddenly be asked a question that's like, oh, like, so basic question about why did you do this, or like what was your thinking behind this decision, and like I usually think of myself as someone who's a pretty decent public speaker, but it's just like I think it's when it's your own work it becomes much more like nerve-wracking.
Well, and sometimes I feel like with film specifically, like you're making the film because that's what it means, like that's you're saying like, oh yeah, like did you not, there's like 50 people plus cast who like interpreted my thoughts, right, and did a full-on performance as to like what I mean by when I say this, because I couldn't just give a public like speech about it,
because an essay would be a lot more boring.
Well, or whatever it is, but like that's how you interpreted that, you know what I mean, that story, right? That's what I meant by it. That's the movie. That's what the movie's for. It's true. Like, I don't know. I don't know how else to say it. I guess it's weird. I always feel like it doesn't matter if it could be I don't know why it would be a child, but I was going to say it could be like a child asking or like Scorsese asking, but I still give the same like response. Like I think it's because I always feel like I'm totally underqualified to like have discussions about my work. Like I'm not good enough. You know what I mean? Like I am not worthy of anybody, because if you're asking, like you think that I'm more than I am, and I'm not. Like I am not. I'm just a regular person. You know what I mean? So but it is nice. The recognition is nice, when they want to know more, which is cool. How is that doing, by the way? How's Apophenia doing in the festival runs?
It's going, I mean, it's you put in for 30 festivals and then you wait 3 months for them to actually get back to you.
It's so annoying. Some of them have like year turnarounds.
Yeah. Luckily did not do anything like that, but there were a few that aren't going to get back to me until like early next year, because but like they're festivals that are happening like next summer. I just wanted to like get the early bird pricing, and so I just
get it. No, absolutely. Get
so
every
like
free.
I could pay $20 to apply to this festival today, or I could fucking sit on my ass for 8 months and then pay $65 for it. Like obviously I'm just going to do it now and then find out what happened a year from now. But
100%.
When you're doing the festival applications, you do have to draw a little bit of a line in the sand. It's like, okay, let me be realistic with myself. Like, what are the festivals I can actually get into theoretically? And like the answer, very rarely is it the case that the answers are like Sundance, Tribeca, South by Southwest, so on and so forth.
Yeah, that's not, you're not wrong.
The
You're not
only
wrong.
like big one we really shot for was Flickers, and even that we got semi-finalist for that, which is like you didn't get in, but we do screening series throughout the year, and we'll keep you in mind for it.
Yeah.
So it's like if we're not getting into Flickers, we're not getting into Sundance. Like,
Yeah, no, that's a fair point. I don't know. Maybe there is like some bit of pretentiousness in me where I'm like, yeah, fuck it, why not?
Oh,
Go
yeah,
for
no.
it.
Obviously, hey, I have faith in myself. I think we deserve to get into every film festival.
Of course,
Right.
and as you should.
You know what?
As you should.
They should give they should make my movie the first movie to get a fucking Best Picture at the Oscars to a short.
That would be really cool. That would be really cool.
But
yeah, and more power to you. I think it's great. I'm very proud of you and happy for you. And we went to the little premiere that you had.
we did our crew screening. Yeah,
crew screening. That was awesome, and the coolest place too.
Oh my god, if we do events like that in the future, I want to do them at Video Underground. That place was amazing.
Yeah, did
It's
you enjoy
really
it?
Yeah, it was great.
I loved it.
It's such a nice room.
Yeah, well, the room was sick, but it's also cool. I love the idea. Like, there's a really I don't know where it is. It's totally off of film, but I think it's either like a bar or a nightclub or something. Maybe it's in New York. I don't know, but they have it's like a gas station out front.
Yeah,
and you like go behind a vending machine to get into this thing. I gotta look this up.
This is a completely different idea, but there's actually a place in Boston called Bodega that is a corner store in the front, and then one of the coolers is fake, and you can open it, and in the back is a sneaker store.
Huh.
And it's like designer sneakers.
The more you know.
It's like streetwear shit.
I can tell a story about a time where Ryan and I were on set. Actually, it's not about a time where Ryan and I were on set, but we had someone in a film that we were in recently shoot somebody, and it was caught on camera.
What?
Wait, what?
Wait, was this a shooting in the North End?
Yeah. Right. The guy who did the shooting in the North End was in a film, is in the film that Ryan and I were on set for.
What?
Okay, so
what film?
So I can't.
Well, just tell me. You
Well,
doesn't have to be on the. You can,
I know,
you
but
can cut
I'm
this
also
part
the editor of these, so like I have so much bleeping and like cutting that I have to do with.
Just cut around it, yeah.
You got like a full week.
Yeah, but I want to be able to tell the story too. It's yeah, I'll believe that. So Ryan and I was asked to edit /AD for a short film that actually did very well.
Yeah.
And Ryan,
I remember hearing about it. Yeah.
Ryan, I asked that Ryan be the sound person for that film. Recently, the person, one of the people who was in that movie, decided to go on a shooting spree through the North End.
Spree is an exaggeration.
Well, toward one person. Yeah. Not shooting spree like shooting multiple people.
Spree makes it sound like he tried to shoot multiple people.
Well, when you ride a bicycle through the North End and you just start aiming a gun randomly at one person, well, there's other people walking on the street, and just start randomly firing.
And it was right over Modern Pastry, right?
Yeah,
it was like a crowded area.
One of the bullets like hit the wall of Modern Pastry. Like, yeah. One of
Thank God, somehow nobody was hurt. This man had terrible aim, but
yeah, he couldn't even hit the guy he was aiming at.
Yeah,
it was crazy. It was bad. I was like, "What are you doing?"
And it was like over some petty dispute, right? Like something about like.
Yeah,
listen, trash dispute or some bullshit.
I love this guy though. That's the fucked up part of this story. Is like,
well, he tried to kill somebody, so
yeah, but like it happens all the time. We don't know what happened. We don't know the story.
Maybe he had a good reason for firing a gun off in public.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's a culture thing. I don't know. It just doesn't bug me like at all. It like really like I didn't know the guy money or anything, like whatever.
Yeah. Did he strike you as a guy that try to kill someone in public?
A lot. I don't know if this is like a good thing or bad thing, but I feel like a lot of my personal friends do strike me that way. Like it just would not be
do I
surprising.
Strike you that way?
No. A lot of. I mean, obviously there are some exceptions, but yeah, no, there are a lot of people in my life where I'm like, oh, you shot. Okay, well, what do you need? What can I do?
We knew it was coming.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't surprise me at all. No, that's funny. Yeah, so Ryan and I were on set, and then he decided to go and try and shoot somebody, but he didn't.
Did a bad job of it.
He missed. Come at
the king.
Good food though. good food at his restaurant. You know, good
Damn
stuff.
Shame about the gun. Shame about the murder.
Attempted.
It's
Shame about the attempted murder.
crime of passion at the most.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe he was trying to show it to the guy and it went off 3 times.
Look, reckless endangerment at most.
Look, I just tried to show him my gun
Yeah.
3 times.
I just wanted
3
him to see
times.
how fast the bullets go.
They are so duck. I said 3 times. Yeah, that's funny. No, it was not funny. It was really bad, but it was you know, it is what it is. What's the yeah, that's a crazy moment that we had together. What's another crazy moment from one of my sets? Go ahead. But you can put me on blast. Go.
I have good memories. I'm just trying
Good
to think
memories
of like
from
one
where? From
those sets. Yeah, I'm just trying to think of
you
like.
can tell a good memory, tell a funny or a good memory.
Honestly,
No,
anything.
Nick only wants to hear the bad.
Yeah.
No, I just
like honestly.
listen. I'm looking to get famous from a viral moment here, Billy. That's what it is. You know, Give me
Heckle.
something.
Honestly,
Heckle
I think
Nick.
my favorite moment from those two sets was the day we shot this location for Line of Duty, and I came in, you know, whatever 3-4 hours early, probably to do all the ceiling rigging in here for those shots.
I'm gonna put that picture up, by the way. I'm listening. Go ahead.
And mostly, like, I was just kind of like standing on an apple box, putting shit up in the drop ceiling here, and we were just like shooting the shit while I did it.
Oh yeah,
was a
there's
pleasant
so much good like BTS footage from that shoot too. Like there's so much good stuff.
The thing is, too, I never did like any of the Charlie movies. So I don't I feel like the only movies I've done with you have been the Hop Top things you did and then like your movies.
I can tell like a funny story about Billy. Like the first day that I met Billy, you were like running around. We were on a board, and I had never.
Oh my God, that's right.
I
You
never
did
met
a
you
board.
before.
Yeah.
I forgot about it.
Yeah. Well, I did like a day.
A few
Yeah.
days. I
But
think you were on,
maybe like 2 days. 2 days of a board. And
That's how you met both of us.
What is that first still from again?
I don't know. It was from Google Images, and it's probably from a movie. It looks like
It looks
the
so
actor
familiar.
Kind of looks like Mr. Bean, but it's not.
There's
a
no
Mr.
way
Bean
that's
movie.
a Mr. Bean movie.
No, it's not.
No,
It's
I
not.
think that's a new wave movie, but I'm just struggling to remember
Yeah,
which
it looks
one.
very Godard.
Yeah, that might. No, wait, it obviously wouldn't be Breathless because.
No.
So yeah, like that upper image, I Googled. I forget what I Googled, but it was literally like my, you know, caveman language of like wind, like sunlight, backlit, wide shot, whatever, like, you know, like something, and then just scrolling for hours and then altering the Google search as much as I possibly can. And then I sent you this, and then on the day I didn't have to tell you shit.
Yeah.
Like it just happened, and then we got the shot. And yeah, this was a definitely emotional crying moment text for me, because I put that, like, pick stitch that together and texted that to you, and I was like, thank you for not making me yell at you ever, and like just doing it. And it was like, it's just really cool when you see something come together. Like, I was able to convey it to you as best as I possibly could, and then it just was.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like a big, like, we'll fix it in post, we'll do this, it was just done in camera, like, beautiful, awesome moment. That looks fucking sick. That's such a good
movie
shot.
came out well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It was. It wasn't bad, but it was like. But that's a sick shot. It's really. really cool.
I'm specifically talking about my work.
Your work looks
Yeah.
phenomenal throughout the entire film. I'm less of a fan of my writing, but that's why I'm not a writer. This is why I make friends with all of these different. That's the cool thing, is like I've always been very good at like bringing people together that do things that I don't do. Admittedly, like I don't do those things.
Yeah.
And if you notice on set, like, and afterward, post-production wise, like, I don't hire people. Like, I don't hire people to do things that I know how to do. And we usually have very limited crew. Like, this is like 3/4 of Wilco Media, right? We just need like
I mean, I'll call you and Line of Duty both. I think we had, 7 to 10 people on set on any given day.
Yeah, that's true, yeah. I'll call you was a little bit bigger, because we had Andrew was a grip. We had Mel.
Yeah, that's right. I had people on that one.
Jaden. Yeah, you had help on that one. And I don't purpose, but you also have to admit that, like,
That one was also more complicated, though.
I really like to shoot stories about people. Like I am very big into, and this is part of the reason I don't, like, again, yell at actors and things like that. Like I drone shots and crazy, like, establishing, or like it's fun. It's fun.
Yeah.
Okay. They look cool in the end, but I want stories about, like, Humans interacting with humans.
It's funny. You're probably the only editor I've ever heard say that you don't like getting that sort of stuff. Like every time I feel like I'm shooting something, it's always like the editor that's like, "Hey, we should really get like a cutaway establishing or something."
That was my biggest gripe with RJ with Cadillac, is we don't ever see like the exterior. We see the exterior of the restaurant for like one shot, but we never like. We don't see any other establishings of really anything. Same with the critic. I'll say it, like I don't care, and Kyle knows this. Like we didn't get a lot of. I told Evan too. Like we didn't get a lot of establishing for the critic of like the theater, the outside of the theater, or like the house. And like sometimes it works. Sometimes it's very difficult though, because as you know now, with regard to short films, like timing of short films is so crucially important, and it sucks because you kind of need establishing shots. You can tell people like where you are.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when you're trying to tell a story, that's why you're not supposed to overcomplicate short films. And everyone thinks they're so damn easy to write a short film, but like simple is hard.
It's extremely hard.
Complex is easy. That's why soap operas are so cheap, and they make them like people. Oh well, maybe he just comes back to life. That's very complex. Like that's very like no one believes that shit. You know, like, oh, that person died in season 3. He has a twin brother, and then we just bring the actor back, like that kind of thing, right? It's season 37. Like, it just doesn't really work that way. But to do a good, simple, short film with all of the right cutting, with all of the right establishing shots, it's like incredibly difficult to do. Which is why when it sounds good, and I don't have to ask you to mic people up, you have to tell me they're mic'd up and have been for an hour. When are we rolling? Like it. Like really, it has an emotional impact, because it's like, oh my God, thank God, because sometimes it's very easy to feel, and I'm sure you felt like this on Apophenia, like it's very easy to feel like the weight of the world on your shoulders during the shooting of everything, even if it's going well. There's that thing that lingers in the back of your head that's like at any moment
it could start going wrong.
It could, and it's a snowball. Yeah. And it's like, because people stop work, like you were saying with the thing where you're in the audience. Like there's a lot of downtime, and if something goes wrong, there's gonna be even more downtime. And there can't be any downtime.
Yeah.
You have to keep working. Yeah. Like you pause for a take, and then it's like we're back to work, reset, like everybody, all hands on deck. You got to get back to it.
Yeah.
And then if we just do that, right, and you work all day long doing that, we're going to have a really fucking good movie.
Yeah.
And if you don't, it's going to show. And you can't always fix it in post. You know?
One thing, I mean, you would have actually been more so, I think, a party to this than I would have been, was on Apophenia when one of our actors had an injury and had to go to the hospital. We obviously
not the fault of the production. It was like a
it
was like a medical thing that they had.
Okay, and we had a set medic who was able to correctly diagnose the issue in the moment, which was
incredible.
It was super important.
Such
but
good luck there.
Obviously, you know, we had to
not good luck. Very normal. Very normal.
Very normal. Very normal for us to have set medics.
Oh my God, that was such a sidebar. I'm sure you've heard this story. I know you've heard this story of how I slashed my foot open working in a lake 2 summers ago.
You told me when you were here last time.
And it was literally, we were in pre-production on Apophenia when I was working that job, and I got a text from Zach as I was walking down to work in the lake, being like, hey, my friend Richard is trying to get into working in movies. He has experience as an EMT. Would you be open to hiring him as a set medic, and like letting him crash like in one of the bedrooms at the Airbnb for the duration of the shoot? And I was like, in my head doing the math, like, even if his day rate's kind of low, that's still like a lot, and like I'd probably feel bad like asking him to come all this way out here without at least like giving him something for the airfare or the gas or whatever, and then like also that like robs us of a bed and the Airbnb is gonna make things tight. And I was like thinking of all these reasons why I was like, this is a bad idea. The weight of the
world over one question.
Yeah, I was thinking all these reasons why it's a bad idea, and I go into the lake and I slash my foot open, and because before I go into the lake, I like put my phone down, I'm like, I'll answer this text in a minute, and then I go into the lake and I slash my foot open, and then like 3 hours later, after dealing with all the bullshit, I'm like sitting in the waiting room at the ER at the like state hospital, and then bring my phone back out again, and I see that I still haven't answered this text, and I'm like, yeah, Zach, we'll hire a septic. and then it's someone
off.
And then it actually could have been a really serious situation because we were gonna send her to the wrong. We were gonna send her to there was a local clinic right around the corner from where we were shooting, and we were going to send her there first, but our set medic was like, no, this is serious, she needs to go straight to a hospital. And then the people at the hospital were like, yeah, this could have been a lot worse if she didn't come straight here. So
I don't know, I guess it shouldn't impress me as much as it does when people are on their shit, but it really does. You know, it's like it shouldn't be though. It should be the norm. Like if you're a complete fuck up, like it should be abnormal, and it should be like, what's wrong with this dude? You know what I mean? To me, in like my mind, my perfect world. But like, it is really a breath of fresh air to not have to be like, for the 10th time, can we please mic these people up? You know what I mean?
Well, to get to what you were saying before, the thing that Ryan actually would have seen is then we were dealing with this situation, and obviously it was a scramble. Like, everyone was like trying to figure out, because the other thing too was we were about to do a company move to a restaurant, and so there was like all this scrambling of like between me and Zach and fucking Colin, actually, who was ADing the shoot, and figuring out what the hell we were going to do for the rest of the day and how we were going to reschedule this, because this was also our last day of shooting that we had originally scheduled. So we had to like figure out like, okay, so we obviously have to come back here, but both of our actors are New Yorkers, and also this person who got injured is probably going to need recovery time, so it's not like we're going to be able to shoot this tomorrow. Like, so we're standing outside trying to figure out all this shit, and also we were losing the location. So it was like a ton of logistical stuff, and then maybe 2 hours later, I come back inside, and I have this thought as I'm walking up the stairs. I'm like, wait, what the fuck has everyone been doing while we've been having this conversation? And you guys were playing shuffleboard with the Dana Dolly.
That's crazy.
Like,
we had to like, I think it was the first day that we shot in here, actually, in the studio for this film, and we had a call time that was super early, and because we were shooting like a lot, we shot a lot of pages that day. And then we didn't have something. I forget what it was that we needed. I think Dan had to run to the like Home Depot and get something.
It was the rails for your
they were
your
crap,
dolly.
and so I told Dan to go grab like more rails, like longer rails.
It was like the package they had given you was like those like shitty little rails that you can screw together, but then we actually ran the dolly and saw the bumps when you were hitting the
That's exactly what it was.
Points.
And I was like, fuck it, Dan, take the card, go to, you know, Home Depot or whatever it is, and like go get the right thing. And so we had all this downtime. Like literally we couldn't do it. We were set. We were ready to go. We were just waiting on this thing. Colin like was like exhausted from working on, I think at the time he was working on like the Whitney Houston movie.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, he was working on the Whitney Houston movie, and I could tell he was tired. And it was our first shoot after I had just screamed till we were both crying on the last set. And so I was like, want to lay down? Want to like go take a nap or something? You know what I mean? In the Colin way. And he was like, yeah. I'm like, I'll take a nap. You know? And so it was like, you know, I don't know. You just got to like be very perceptive of everybody and realize that like, just because you have the weight of the world on your shoulders, like everybody else does too. Like if you were setting up lights on one of my shoots, and you know that I'm thinking like, oh, everything's perfect with Billy, everything's fine, and lights start falling over on people or falling off the ceiling, like you'd be like, you'd feel like it's all your fault. You know, you'd be like, oh fuck. If the sound is messing up, or like, didn't we have an issue like that once? I feel like we had an issue like that once. There was something wrong. Was a connection issue. I think you've stopped a total of like maybe 2 takes on everything that we've ever been on together. But like when you say like, hold on, everything shuts down.
It might have been in the hotel room that one time, in that motel we shot.
I'm not talking about our personal life. I'm saying on set. I'm just kidding. I'm sorry. Clipping it for Colin because he'll make fun of me for that.
Talking about connection issues.
Yeah, right. Yeah. We would have no connection issues, guaranteed. What is the? Oh my god, that's gonna be a viral moment. No, what?
We're gonna get milkshake duck.
What?
We're gonna get milkshake ducked.
Yeah, right. You'll be famous for a day. and then they'll pick you apart.
Yeah.
What what is
the motel on
the hotel room? What
no, Line of Duty, right?
It was Line of Duty.
Line of
yeah.
Duty.
This was the day
Probably
I
one
wasn't
of the-
there
it was
because you
probably
were stealing the location and you didn't want to have a footprint for lighting.
You got to do what you got to do.
I mean, it was such a small hotel room. It
we
was
had
just
nudity that day, and it was like on top of the location.
Just another thing to worry
Being
about.
unaware of the shoot.
Oh yeah, well that was because that was your concern, right? Is that the motel was going to think that you were shooting porn?
Yeah, or something weird. I don't know. Just like it doesn't matter whether there was nudity or not. It was like when you get a hotel room, and then you bring cameras into the hotel room, they automatically that's like the first thing that they would think is like, oh god, it's gonna
These
be
boys fucking.
Yeah. There was a lot of boys too. It was like 7 guys walking in, and then there was
boys
a camera.
getting sweaty.
Yeah. It was yeah. Yeah. I don't know why we put so much stress on ourselves as creatives. And I think it's because we want it to be good. But even though you have a very good way of not showing the stress. Billy gets stressed, and I know Billy's stressed.
I think I'm better about it now. I used to not be.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, it doesn't make you any better or worse than you are. The talent is there. It comes through. But I can tell when Billy's stressed. And I'm like, okay, Billy needs a minute. Billy needs like and there are times like you get progressively you speak very fast, but as you get stressed, and again, not knocking it, I think it's borderline hilarious, but as you get progressively more stressed, you speak very fast, like very rapid fire. And there are definitely been times where I've been like, okay, we're gonna try it again. What'd you mean, Bill? What are we talking about, Billy? Like, what's going on? How can we help the situation a little bit, or whatever it is. And you get like rapid fire, and then it blows up, and you're like, I just need, and I'm like, okay, all right, whatever you need. I don't know. We all get so stressed, but it's because we're all trying to pull in the same direction, But we're learning, and I'm very happy that I know both of you and have both of you in my lives.
Agreed.
Seriously. No, you're the best. You really are. I couldn't ask for more talented people in my life. I really couldn't. I wouldn't want them. I wouldn't want them. I would want you guys,
Talent's overrated.
True. It's all about stress. It's all about the weight of the world. It's all about those viral moments.
Look, I'm just here for vibes, like
yeah. But seriously, I mean, thank you for driving like across the country to be
literally
on this
just like
show.
2-hour drive through.
You better tell
traffic.
people. You gotta
3
tell
states.
You gotta tell everybody
No,
about it.
that's
3
not
states?
true. 2 states.
No,
We're still in Massachusetts.
Massachusetts is just large.
I had a brief moment of thinking we were in New Hampshire.
We're close.
That far. We're not that far north.
We're not that far from New Hampshire.
We're not that far from New Hampshire.
I will say there is a great moment on the episode that premieres today with Andrew, where he was talking to me about something that he worked on, the movie theater that he worked in.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah, South Shore, Mass, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, it's like Central. I'm like, yeah, but this is North Shore, so everything south is like Boston and South Shore. Like, that's it. That's all there is. We don't care.
Does he work? Braintree?
Huh? No. He worked in Littleton. Like, he was Central Mass, like near Worcester.
Oh, like west.
Yeah, but
Not like
Central.
Western Mass, but like west of here.
West and south of here, so South Shore. Like South Shore, that's what I call it.
Very far from
It's
the
not.
shore.
It's not the south thing that's the problem. Yeah, it's
Yeah, I
the
know.
shore.
But like, he's like, "There's no shore there," and I'm like, "Yeah, whatever."
Whatever.
Probably some lakes.
Did you guys have fun?
Yeah.
Did you? You
Yeah.
like the mic? You should be a sound person.
Yeah.
You like
Billy
the mic?
doesn't want to boom though.
I would never do sound because I don't want.
Oh my god, that one time I had to.
I don't
boom
know
for
how
you.
me
you
on
do it.
Charlie's film.
So miserable.
I don't know how you boom. Booming's like sucks.
Yeah, it does.
It sucks.
No, it does.
I'd be like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Like,
Have you met Matt Leak?
yeah, I've met.
No, I know
have
you
you
met
met
Matt
Matt
Leak.
I don't know. I feel like the name sounds familiar, and he's been brought up.
He's
quite a
like,
bit.
honestly, you probably don't know him because I feel like he's the sound guy that gets called like kind of in the same breath as you. So if you're on a set, generally
Yeah.
he's not.
Yeah.
But
But if Ryan's not available, I won't make a movie. Or I'd make a silent. I'd make a
So
silent
you'll never
film.
meet Matt Lee.
yeah,
Yeah.
Matt,
if you get sick, I'll shut down Wilco Media.
But Matt is also a boom op, and a couple of times has, I think, been on my movie, he was your boom op, actually.
Yeah,
for a day. But you look at him and you're like, oh yeah, that guy's a boom op. Like he was a power lifter in college and like has like that upper body that is like, this man is a boom op.
But like, because he's a power lifter, does not have any stamina for boom opping.
Oh yeah. I want that like cross country vibe. You know what I mean? Long distance stamina.
I'm a freaking runner, baby.
Yeah. How's that feel, by the way? That's a newfound
running
thing.
Is amazing. I love running. Yeah, I did 10 miles yesterday for the first time ever doing like a full 10 miles. And it was not bad. It's not bad.
Congrats.
Thank you.
You can run 10 for me too.
Yeah, I
How's that sound?
do not like running, so
yeah, running not my style. I'll watch. I'll film you run. From you get smaller and smaller, but
yeah,
or we could rig. You could use your car rig, and I'll drive next to you.
Cool.
We could film a great documentary about Ryan.
Yeah,
being a runner. That'd be sick. I mean, seriously, congratulations. That's huge.
I'm like a little bit more than a month away from my half marathon. Scary.
Yeah,
but it'll be good.
What you mean the words half marathon? That is very scary.
No, just the thought of doing it is scary, but it'll be good. I had my first race beginning of this month in Portland.
And how'd you do?
So well.
Really?
Yeah, I did really well.
I believe you, but I don't know. But like your first, I don't know, you make a first film, it doesn't do well always.
No, I mean, I didn't put like any expectations on myself really. I was like, okay, it'd be really nice if I did this in like 47 minutes. It's like 6.2 miles.
Shut up. Shut the fuck up.
I'm like,
get up. 6.2 miles, 47 minutes.
Well, I was just like, okay, so this is what I've been doing.
What are you, a fucking track star? What are you doing?
This is what I've been doing time-wise, like a little bit more than that. So I was just like, okay, it'd be really nice if I like passed this like mile marker.
You just started a running podcast.
No, I love talking about it too. So it's like,
no, I'm not giving you shit. I'm just saying, like, it's not. I would not be a listener because I might be a listener because
no one wants to hear me talk about running. I want to talk about running because it's all I do at this point.
Yeah, it's what podcasts are for.
Literally.
He's like, please, I just started running. Bring me on your podcast. Go.
Please, I have so much shit to talk about.
No, go. It's impressive. It is. Go.
We should make a podcast that nobody listens to. And
we're there. We're here.
Yeah.
You're here right now. We're doing it.
There are podcasts that less people listen to, though.
That's true.
No, I'm saying like we should make a podcast that nobody listens to, and then it is just a black hole for people to talk about all the things that they personally think are interesting, but nobody else will find
unedited
interesting.
Names named.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, names named.
Public record, prosecutable for slander.
The secret podcast.
Yeah.
How
do you find the secret
Let's not say
podcast?
prosecutable for anything. That is the biggest thing on the film sets. Like, let's never
Lies.
be prosecutable.
Defamation.
I will say for that one kid, for that scene in the hotel. Yeah, well, no, not really.
I'm confessing right now into the public record.
Okay, that means I don't have to edit the episode. So I'm just kidding. No. I'm kidding, Billy. But I will say that one thing about the kid with that nudity, like that paperwork for that kid was thick. Like there was some paperwork. Oh yeah. Yeah. I wanted to make sure. I mean, the kid, he was 18, 19, and like had to be borderline full frontal in one scene.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
yeah, it was a bathtub scene, right? Or a shower scene.
Shower scene.
Yeah.
Shower scene. And like of course it was because we shot it in the hotel, like there is that one like plastic see-through curtain.
Right.
So like it was borderline full frontal for like a second. And I cut around it and he's totally fine with it. He thinks the cool thing about him, first of all, he's a fantastic actor. But second of all, I make way more out of it than he makes out of it. Like which is the way it should be.
Absolutely.
Right. You know, like he's like, it's nothing. Like I'll do it again and I'll, all this other, and I'm like, no. Like it's fine. Like we got it. Like it's good. Like he's totally fine with it. The opposite is the part that's like, is when it gets really scary, is when you're like, it's not a big deal. And they're like, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
And then you're like,
well,
it's not a problem because you want people to be comfortable. It's a problem because it's not the right fit.
And then it also gets to like the point like where we're in like film. That one.
Yeah, but there was nudity in that. In fact,
not really though.
Okay. So all three of us. So we were on a production where there was a scene that was very poorly described in the script as the end of and aftermath of a sexual encounter, a consensual sexual encounter. Like it was not a bad, crazy scene, but like it was two very young adults, but two very young adults.
Yeah, and the scripts are supposed to be teenagers, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, but like,
the actual actors
we were not shooting child. You know, they were young adults, but it was just very poorly written,
and then it was just
and
like
described.
Yes,
and I asked the director on multiple occasions,
what do you want out of this?
What are you trying to do? Like, what do you want to see? And then, because it wasn't my job at the time, usually it's my job, and I have no problem having the conversation. If you got to show your ding-dong on camera, like, I will say to an actor, like, just so you're aware, this isn't a butt cheeks conversation. Like, you're going to be full frontal. Are you okay with that? Because if not, there's no point in auditioning.
Right.
You know? And, like, that's why it worked on the other set.
Yeah.
Because it's not about what you show. Sometimes it's about, like, is it worth it because of the story? And, like, does this make sense for the story? And is it, you know what I mean? But sometimes it's also, like, just be clear. Like, just tell me what I'm getting myself into. A lot of these actors are, like, they'll do a lot of stuff. They get themselves into bad situations. Good on this one female actor for standing up for herself when we were on set. But, like, if there had been some clarity to begin with, it wouldn't have been an issue at all. And so, I mean, I ended up kind of directing the scene. Thankfully, with your lights, we were able to kind of shadowify a whole bunch of stuff.
And it was a night scene anyway. That's kind of what we wanted from what I understood.
Originally, we wanted, like, I hate this. And listen, again, you're going to love me for this, you commie bastard. All right. So, nudity in film in general, I am a big proponent of, if you're gonna show boobs, then you gotta show a dick. Like, that's it. That's it. It's not fair. It's not fair, and I don't believe so. It's very difficult to take things away from people. What do I mean by that? You're never going to tell all of the people in Hollywood and the upper echelons that they can't have boobs anymore. Okay? Sorry, if you got boobs, people want to see them. And the people who pay like the $200 million for movies, they want to see the boobs. That's fine. But the thing that makes it not fair is that there's no male objectification anywhere, ever. And as the three of us know, that there's a lot of insecurity around certain things, especially when they're not in use, and like the way that they appear on film, if that makes sense. And so because of that, you have this, like, again, not trying to get political, but you do have somewhat of a straight, like a hetero masculine mentality of, like, boobs pretty, penis ugly.
Yeah.
And it's like, fine, but you're not going to, so moving forward, in my opinion, the best way to, like, combat that is, like, fine, if you just make it equal. So if you're going to have a pair of boobs in a movie, if you're going to make a girl get naked, then we got to see flaccid pee-pee. And by the way, we turn the AC on. Turn the temperature down really, really low for those people, and then it's fine and everybody's happy. You know, it is no prosthetics. Nobody wears prosthetic boobs in movie sets, so it is what it is. There's just a double standard, I would say. That's not. That's obviously.
I think that's fair. Yeah.
Like, why not? It is what it is. We all got them. You know, tough guy. Well, be a champ. Get up there. You know. Because, like, well, the thing is, and the funny thing about that was that the male half of that scene was totally willing to be naked.
Totally
100% was like, do I take everything off or just, I'm like, no, just no.
Yeah.
Like, please, like, no, we don't need to see everything. But the way that the script originally
do you need
had
a special? Like,
yeah. Yeah. Did you need a close up of this? Yeah. When you say finishing and post, did you mean? It's so bad. All right, but like, so the thing was, you want everybody to be comfortable, and and the way that the script originally had it was, actually, that was the final draft. The first draft of it was, this girl was topless and was getting dressed, and the male was like laying next to her in his jeans. And I said to the director, I go, I'm not trying to get too personal with you, and I don't really care. Nobody fucks in jeans. Okay?
Yeah.
Yep.
Nobody fucks in jeans. Nobody in movies fucks in jeans. Nobody fucks in jeans. So stop with this. This is like, it was almost, and he had no intention of like being misogynistic or anything like that. But he is a straight guy. Of course he didn't want to see the kid there without pants on. You know what I mean? Like that was like something that he wouldn't want to see. Right. He just was writing it based on like what he would want to see. He's a young director and he's doing very well, and I'm very happy for him. But in the moment, I had a conversation. He was like, oh, you're right. I didn't even think about that. I'm like, that's why I'm here. You know? Free the penis. Free the penis.
Free the penis.
Free the cock.
Yeah, free it. Free it. Let it fly. Let it, whatever it does.
You know, all this
Helicopter.
discourse over Florence Pugh's nudity in Oppenheimer, they should have just resolved that by showing Cillian Murphy's cock and balls.
That's right.
Yeah, they could have done that. I was moderately disappointed.
I know. They even had the shot where the two of them are sitting in the chairs, and they're like, "Oh, his legs are crossed." Like, come on.
They had him sit like this old man, and he just looks decrepit in that chair because he's so thin for that film, and it just looks like.
Well, I think he's thin in general.
Yeah, but it just looks. There's skinny.
Yeah,
and then there's like old man skinny.
He's doing like fucking. What's his face in The Machinist? Christian Bale.
Yeah, like it was like he ate like an almond a day. It was like bad. It was bad.
Yeah,
it's not attractive for that scene. And by the way, Florence Pugh was beautiful. Like I didn't see anything that was like. Did you see Oppenheimer?
I have not seen it yet.
You see boobs.
There's like 5 seconds of it. Yeah, it's like
she
the
does
most
not
minor
get
thing
objectified like at all. Like that was not crazy, overly sexualized.
They should have just objectified Cillian Murphy more.
Yes.
Okay,
That's
fine.
the solution.
Yeah, I mean, but you see what I'm saying? Like that's like I don't know.
Yeah.
Fine. Why not?
Yeah.
Or don't. And the alternative is like don't shoot the scene. Oh, but we need it for the story. Well, guess what? 2 people get naked when there's sex involved.
I do think it's a good scene, and like because I do want to push back about that just because I think the thing with that the thing I've seen at least online is like a lot of people that are like sort of like that more generically puritanical, like, oh, there shouldn't ever be sex in movies thing.
Yeah, but that's not real because none of us would be here without it.
Exactly.
I'm huge on sex.
But that's the thing. It's like I don't think the solution to situations like that is to say like, oh, we just shouldn't ever have a sex scene in a movie. It should be like shoot the scene better.
Well, yeah. And I feel like okay, so I will say that I feel like there's a group of people just in general with a mindset like there are a bunch of people with the mindset of like like needing an intimacy coordinator and all this other stuff, and like there sometimes can be people that take their job like too seriously with certain respects, but it really is it is like a it's not a difficult conversation.
No.
It's an honest, real conversation where everyone needs to be on the same page.
Yeah.
That's the idea.
I mean, that's the actual
intimacy.
Purpose of an intimacy coordinator, too, is that it's for big sets where coordinating that conversation on a broader scale is logistically difficult. And that person is there as like a focus point for the conversation to be like, I'm going to now be the person that calls everyone into the room and says X, Y, and Z is happening in this scene. These are the people who can be on set, blah, 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 blah. Like they're almost like a first AD for sex. Like it's
literally
like a logistical thing. And yeah. Like
well, because
someone has to be the person to do that.
Yeah, it's not real by any stretch of the imagination. It never is, you know. And to have I'm not knocking anybody who
there are movies that have had non-simulated sex scenes.
Yeah, there are.
They're not studio pictures, but
I was going to say there are actually quite a few of them.
Okay, yeah, exempting porn.
Yeah, okay. I was going to say like
I'm thinking of like
of
Sweet Sweetback, but
but it's like no, but I'm talking like in everyday. I don't think that people should be afraid of sex in films or intimacy in films or anything like that. As long as you do it the right way, whatever. Like, just do your job. That's all you have to do.
I think all of like the sex scenes that I've seen that I would refer to as like bad sex scenes are the ones that are like, oh, it's just like fucking some guy crawling out of bed, putting his shirt on, and it's just like an excuse to show the girl with her tits out at the end of the scene.
This is my point. Like
those are like the bad ones to me. Like if anything, like the actual sex scenes that are depictions of the intimacy are the ones that actually like, okay, this feels like a character beat now. Like this actually, there's like a purpose for this scene existing.
Did you watch Dahmer?
I did not know.
Oh, neither of you?
No.
There is a scene in Dahmer where, what's the guy's name that played Dahmer?
Evan Peters?
Yes, Evan Peters. There is a scene in Dahmer where Evan Peters is enjoying his alone time.
Cranking his cock.
Yeah. He was cranking it.
Uh-huh.
The way that they shot this scene, he has his pants on, fly undone, hand inside his underwear, going to town.
Fascinating.
Yeah, that's the face that you two, me, and every other male in America who watched that film who has enjoyed their alone time, it was like, nah, dude. Like, he's alone in his bedroom with a magazine open, and that's what, like, bro,
seems
don't
messy.
shoot thus, incredibly much so. But, like, don't shoot that scene if that's the way you're going to do it. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, either do it
or just
shoot
it from the other side. Just shoot it over the shoulder, like from behind his back, right? Like
exactly. Do something where it's implied. We don't have to. Again, I'm not saying that we need to see these things explicitly. I'm saying that, like, if you're going to do something, don't do it in a way that feels like you were too scared to do it in the first place, because then it comes off like worse. It looks like something that would have been uncomfortable to shoot. Like, if I was on the crew, I would have been like, this isn't right. Like, this isn't working. You know? And granted, it's a story about a serial killer. But the thing that's crazy about it is that it was fucking Ryan Murphy of all people. Like, he's, like, big on, I don't know. Maybe it was Evan Peters who wasn't comfortable, or I don't know. It's so weird. It's like a weird thing. Thank you both so much for being here today. I love you both very much. Ryan, where do you want people to follow you if they watch this that they don't know you? Do you want other filmmakers who watch this to hire you?
No.
Okay. Fuck off then. No.
Don't hire me.
Where can people follow you? Right, Instagram?
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram. It's at RYCOLL499 at?
No, at is the first.
Yeah,
yeah.
That's the first.
Yeah, at comes in emails.
I'm confused.
Yeah, we're not trying to get work here. We're just trying to get followers. That's
Please follow me on Instagram.
I'm trying to get work.
Sometimes I take photos.
That's
sometimes I make music. Sometimes I make movies.
Yeah. It's cool. It's cool stuff.
Mostly I run.
Yeah. Now mostly you run. Yeah.
Mostly I run.
We're gonna have you on set soon, guaranteed. Billy, where can people follow you?
Yeah, on all socials, I am at Bilel Fark-Simth. That's BILELFR. No, wait. Let me start it first. BILELFARNKSIMTH.
It was also typed out right below you, right there. Yep. So, like, for people watching, they could definitely go to that.
Well, I don't think that's true on the podcast.
No, well, on the
video,
video part. So, if you're just a listener, you should also like and subscribe to Wilco Media. And yeah. And thank you so much. I love you guys. Thanks so much.
Giving you options here. I don't know where it renders in the.
Yeah. Thanks. Appreciate that. That'll be a GIF. I'll make that into a GIF of, like, the other way, that way. That'll be that way for you, because they go pop right there.
Pop.
No, that's it. Yeah, that could
work.
work.
I don't think my hand's on camera anymore. Pop.
Yeah, we got it. Yeah.
Pop.
Yeah. Exactly. Anyway, thanks so much. Appreciate it. Like, subscribe, or don't care. Love you all. Bye-bye.
If you contact me, I'll fucking cry.
So true.